Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. The defending national champs breezing through the regionals now. The number 4 national seed South Carolina facing the pride of New England, the UConn Huskies, playing in their first Super Regional. Here's a look at this side of the bracket leading up to the College World Series. Virginia 6-0 winners over Irvine earlier today. And is the only game that has gone final on this side. The winner of this Super Regional plays the A&M Florida State winner in Omaha. Dallas Baptist and Cal, the Cinderella stories of the tournament. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to steamy Columbia, South Carolina, alongside my partner, former Arizona State All-American and big league catcher Paul LaDuca. I'm Clay Matvick. Glad to have you along, Paul. And as someone who has played in the College World Series and knows what it takes to get there, you know how hard it is for this South Carolina bunch to think about winning this thing 2 years in a row. It's going to be tough getting past UConn, however.
Yeah, it's always tough to have the bullseye on your back, but you got to give them a lot of credit. They went through some adversity. Jackie Bradley Jr., last year's College World Series most outstanding player, been out since April 24th. We asked Coach Tanner, how have you done it since he's been out? Doing a lot of the little things a lot better and winning games the old-fashioned way with pitching and defense.
Yeah, Coach Tanner always knows how to do the little things right. This is what his team has done this year. Michael Roth has been leading the way on the mound. We're going to see him. They got a share of the SEC regular season title, and they've looked good in the postseason so far.
Well, Michael Roth, what can you say about him? His first 2 starts last year were in the College World Series. We only gave up 2 runs in 15 innings, 12-3 with a 1.10 ERA. Very, very intelligent pitcher. Coach Tanner said might be the most intelligent he's ever coached.
And UConn under Jim Penders. They have got a roster loaded with Major League draft picks, including Matt Barnes, the starter we're going to see in this one.
Yeah, 3 draft picks in the top 85. That's almost unheard of for a Northeast school. And Matt Barnes, electric-type fastball, can touch in the high 90s. Why he was a high draft pick. Got beat up against Coastal Carolina in the regional. Needs to bounce back tonight.
Here's a look at Michael Roth. He has not allowed an earned run in his last 3 starts. He allowed just 1 earned run in 7 innings in the regional against Georgia Southern, his 12th win of the year. He is focused. He is ready to go in front of 8,200 plus here at Carolina Stadium.
You could feel the electricity in here when the fans got up to cheer when the Gamecocks went on the field.
L.J. Mazzilli, the son of Lee Mazzilli, who played several years in the big league, stands in. And ready to bat first for the UConn Huskies, 45-18 on the year. And we're underway. And the first pitch misses down from Michael Roth. Mazzilli, unlike his dad, not a switch hitter, but still very good at the top of this UConn order. And that misses wide for Roth. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, Coach Penders told me that he's really made huge strides from his freshman year to his sophomore year. It might be their best pure hitter and had a great regional as well. Guy that can set the table.
2-0 swung on, and this is popped up, drifting in foul ground on the right side, and it's going to reach the seats. Yeah, Mazzilli was 11 for 24 in the region. Hit .458, no home runs and 5 driven in. UConn came through the Clemson region. They lost that first game to Coastal Carolina 13-1. Jim Penders didn't know what to think about his squad. They rallied and won 4 straight. They beat Clemson twice to get to this point. Ground ball. Scott Wingo, the second baseman, all SEC defensive team, knocks it down and makes the play. Here's that UConn lineup behind Mazzilli. John Andrioli batting in the 2 spot. There is George Springer, the Big East Player of the Year. Nemeth, Fuller, Ahmed, Elliott, Friel, and Ferret are rounding it out.
Yeah, Springer is the Big East Player of the Year, but Mike Nemeth is the all-time leader in hits, RBIs, and doubles at UConn, and might be their best, probably clutch hitter. First baseman, senior, been around the block a couple times as well. So
this is chopped to short by Andrioli on 1 pitch. Roth sets him down 2 away.
You see the South Carolina D already. We talked to Coach Tanner about this. He thought their second baseman and shortstop might be the best double play combination in the nation. They're very, very strong up the middle.
And that .974 fielding percentage, 35th best in the country, 66 double plays, as you alluded to, very strong at short and second. And now here's George Springer, 2011 Big East Player of the Year. UConn's all-time home run leader. I love the way that Jim Penders described him. He said he's a tool shed. He's got all the tools you can possibly think of.
Yeah, he said his last name is perfect for him because he's got a spring in his step. The energy he brings in the clubhouse is infectious to a lot of the guys as well. We watched him take BP, and he's got some big-time power, Clay.
The highest drafted Connecticut player ever, 11th overall by the Astros earlier this week, and he takes a strike. So now 1-2.
I think that's how they're going to have to pitch him. He's been hit by a pitch 18 times this year, so obviously his weakness is inside. You see Roth working both sides of the plate, trying to set something up, maybe away and finish him in.
Roth misses down and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Roth in the SEC tournament got a complete game win over Auburn. We told you what he did against Georgia Southern. He has looked good so far during the postseason. A little bit down, so now full count to UConn's number 3 hitter, George Springer, a Connecticut native out of New Britain. And do you think the people in the state of Connecticut are fired up about this bunch?
I would think so, especially the talent they do have here.
Swung on and hit toward the gap in left center. Down for a hit for Springer. Thinking about 2. Shifts into a second gear, and he's in. Springer made up his mind about 2 steps around the bag at first and slid in with a double with 2 outs.
A great job by George, especially with 2 strikes, putting the ball in play, line drive in the left field, and busting out of the box, especially with 2 outs. You want to take a chance and maybe get in scoring position here and thinking double the whole time. A little fumble there in the outfield. And got a little scoring opportunity early.
Now they're going to give Marzilli an error out in center field, so it's a single. And Springer at second on the air. And now Mike Nemeth at the plate. And you mentioned it, Paul. This is UConn's all-time hits and RBI leader for career and single season. So you've got Springer, who gets a lot of the pub, a lot of the attention, but Nemeth very good in the 4-hole. Swung on into left field, base hit. They are going to wave Springer. He is going to try to score. Here comes the throw. It's cut off. And UConn jumps out in front 1-0.
Great piece of hitting by Mike Nemeth, just going the other way. Base hit to left field. Sort of an inside-out swing. Looked like the pitch was up. And sort of just slashed it over to left field. 1-0 lead for UConn, and that is huge, especially coming into this ballpark where the Gamecocks have won 17 straight here. And just not trying to do too much. Seemed like Roth maybe going a little Laredo there against the lefty. Just got the pitch up and a good piece of hitting, and Jim Penders hit it on the head, the kind of guy you want up in clutch situations.
So the error comes back to haunt South Carolina right away. And Fuller hits with 2 outs and a man at first. Ryan Fuller, coming off an excellent regional for UConn, drove in a team-high 9 runs at the regional. 1-0 pitch. This is popped in the air. Hit the medium deep center field. Marzilli's got it. Makes the catch. But his bobble out in center field leads to a UConn run. And Marzilli will have a chance for Carolina to get it back. He leads off in the bottom of the 1st. I don't think they could fit any more people in here with axle grease and crowbars.
Yeah, I know. When we were coming in, I wanted to drop out of the car and give me a dog or a burger over there. They were tailgating since like 3 o'clock. They
know how to do it here in Columbia. Here is the lineup for South Carolina, the defending national champs. The leadoff man is Evan Marzilli. Scott Wingo in the 2 spot. Christian Walker, South Carolina's top home run guy. He's got 9 bombs on the year. Brady Thomas, Adrian Morales, Jake Williams, Peter Mooney, Robert Berry behind the plate in this game. We'll talk more about him. And Stephen Neff out in left field.
Yeah, the bottom of this lineup has actually been swinging the bat a lot better, especially Stephen Neff, who will probably face right-handers, and he usually does not play against the lefties, but had some big hits in the regional.
There's Matt Barnes, Big East pitcher of the year. He throws real hard. He's in the mid-90s consistently.
Yeah, got 2 types of breaking balls. Got a curveball and a slider. His curveball is more of his get-over pitch. His slider is more of his out pitch, but Coach Penders said his changeup has really made him a different pitcher, especially against left-handed hitters.
And Marzilli standing in, coincidentally, a New Englander himself out of Cranston, Rhode Island.
Let's say his name 10 times along with LJ Mazzilli 10 times.
Yeah, we got Mazzilli leading off for UConn and Marzilli leading off for South Carolina as it happens. And that pitch misses just wide. 2 balls and a strike. Marzilli at the top of this order. Ray Tanner really likes this young man. Named to the regional all-tournament team. Led off the regionals deciding game with a solo home run against Stetson. Tries to bunt for a hit here and pushes it foul now. 2-2.
Not a bad idea. You know, Matt Barnes, one thing about him is he's not a great fielder. He has a little trouble holding runners as well. So to test a guy early is not a bad idea. Maybe shoot one down the third base line, especially with the third baseman all the way back.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Marzilli. UConn already on top, 1-0. Swing and a miss. And Matt Barnes out to a great start. That's his 112th strikeout of the year. Here's the defense behind Barnes. Got a really good outfield anchored by Springer in the middle. Ryan Fuller over at third base. He's got 19 errors on the year. Keep that in the back of your mind. Ahmed Mazzilli up the middle. Nemeth over at first. And Doug Elliott, a senior backstop. A .962 fielding percentage. 183rd nationally. So the fielding has been a problem at times for UConn. As you take a look at Scott Wingo, South Carolina's second baseman. And strike 1.
Yeah, Scott Wingo, 325 hitter, actually 335 hitter, but really has turned it around this year. He's had an outstanding year. He's the kind of guy that moves guys over, will bunt, will do whatever it takes to get on base. Perfect number 2 hitter. And Coach Ray Tanner said he's been a big reason why they are where they are right now.
Yeah, you know, his defense has been great his entire career. It's the offense that has really taken a step up here in his senior season. Skies this one into foul ground, and it's going to head out of play. A little more on Matt Barnes, the junior out of Bethel, Connecticut. Was taken in the first round by the Red Sox, 19th overall.
And there it is. He can reach 98 miles an hour. Usually sits around 92 to 94. Like I said earlier, has 2 different breaking balls. Curveball more to lefties as a strike. Out pitch is the slider. But he's been utilizing his changeup a lot better. It seems like more of these power pitchers, when they learn that changeup, that's when they really blossom.
2-2 pitch. And again, fought off by Wingo.
Sort of a classic style pitcher, you know, out of the Ben McDonald mode or the Roger Clemens. Tall right-hander, straight over the top. He's not afraid to challenge it and throws a lot of strikes.
6'4", 203 pounds. He's got a great frame. The scouts think that he could add 20, 25 pounds easily, which means he's going to be a great power pitcher in the future. That's down and in, so another full count here.
I think there was a changeup right there. Sort of pulled it on the front side there, down and in, but risky pitch there, 2-2, and now you got to go 3-2 and have to throw a fastball here.
Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the night for Barnes.
And 96 miles an hour. And after seeing that changeup, Scott Wingo and Matt Barnes just turning it up a notch, rearing back and throwing, and he's sort of a little bit more 3/4 than I thought, and sort of drops and drive a little bit, but that ball has plenty of life on it.
And now 2 outs for Christian Walker. Barnes buries a strike at the knees. Walker, said it before, has 9 home runs on the year. That is tops on this team, but he's been without a home run since April 26th. The long drought for this guy. Swings at this pitch and sends it out of play. Foul. 2 down. 0-2 the count to Walker as he's in a hole here to Barnes.
Coach Tanner saying yesterday that Christian is sort of odd in the way that he'll look so bad on one pitch, then you'll throw him the same pitch and he'll hit it 500 feet. So sometimes he can be all or nothing.
Tremendous raw power. Breaking ball fooled him there. And Barnes strikes out the side. Matt Barnes gets Marzilli, Wingo, and Walker looking. 1-0 UConn after one.
Steve Bunin in studio right now on ESPN. Stanford not going down without a fight. Elimination game for the Cardinal. 1 run already in the bottom of the 8th. Bases loaded. Double from big Austin Wilson. All of a sudden, what was a blowout is now a 6-5 game. Tar Heels a little bit on the rope. Still a 1-run lead. Again, that game on ESPN right now in the top of the 9th. On ESPN2, it's Florida State, the 5 seed, trailing Texas A&M 4-2. Clay and Paul, back to you in beautiful Columbia.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. It's been an interesting day in college baseball. How about the final today between Florida and Mississippi State? It looked like the Gators were going to be the first team to punch a ticket to Omaha, and Mississippi State got a walk-off homer from Nick Vickerson.
Yeah, I was in my bed. I almost jumped out of my bed after I was putting on my suit to get ready to come here to the ballpark today, and unbelievable game.
What are you doing in bed in the afternoon? UConn out to a 1-0 lead here over South Carolina. An unearned run in the first. Nick Ahmed leads it off here. Ahmed, the captain of the Huskies and the heart and soul of this roster. Every guy will tell you that. Chops it to short. Mooney. High throw, sails into the dugout. And it's going to be an extra base for Nick Ahmed. A rare fielding mistake from Peter Mooney.
Two rare fielding mistakes for the South Carolina Gamecocks in the first inning. The error by the center fielder Marzilli, and now here the shortstop Berry throwing the ball away. And usually a solid defensive team, you can't let teams like this, especially in these super regionals, get extra outs and come back to haunt you.
So Ahmed at second, and that'll bring up Doug Elliott. Didn't want to, off the glove of Roth. Has to recover, and it's scooped up over at first by Walker. Great job by Roth to stay with that play. And moving over to third is Ahmed, 1 down.
Very interesting play here, but Doug Elliott, I think, does the right thing. He has the intent to go the other way. He's trying to move the runner up, and might not look as pretty, but got the job done. Did what he was asked to do. Good play by Roth staying with that. Good play by the first baseman picking it as well. But a great at-bat by Doug Elliott. Some of at-bats like that, Clay, you would say, oh, it was a check swing, but he got the job done. His job is to get the runner over to third base.
And now Ray Tanner is out to talk with Roth in his infield. Ray Tanner, the SEC Coach of the Year. National Coach of the Year last year after that College World Series title. He's made 12 straight trips to the NCAA tournament now. This is his 9th Super Regional in the last 12 years with South Carolina. He has built this thing into something special in Columbia.
He really is, and what an infectious personality he has. I could talk to that guy all day. And let's put that in perspective for a lot of people. That's 9 Sweet 16s in the last 12 years.
Right.
That's unbelievable.
The DH Mike Friel hits with 1 out and a runner at third. Down and in. Well, UConn has come to play, and I don't think that they're surprised by their performance here early on. I would doubt Carolina's even surprised. They knew what they were in for with UConn. There might be some fans watching on TV at home or some folks here at Carolina Stadium that are surprised. UConn baseball has not been on the national map until the last couple of years.
Well, obviously they're up against it being in the Northeast. I live up in the Northeast with all the rain and the snow that they got this winter. It's tough to get kids out on the field, so they get a late start. They started the season not as well, but have really, really come on of late. And I give credit to Coach Penders, who went out and played a tough schedule. They played 30 teams in the RPI top 50. Makes your team a better ball club come this time of year.
3-0 pitch, and he walked him. That missed just high out of the zone. And now runners at the corners with 1 out for Billy Ferreter. There's Jim Penders. We'll talk about what Tanner has done. Penders has deserved a lot of credit for distinguishing his program
a lifer at UConn, played there, was an assistant coach, now the head coach, doing an unbelievable job. You could tell in BP, these kids were throwing wiffle balls around, playing games out there. They were not nervous at all. Just by the demeanor, you could tell that they weren't scared to be in this regional against South Carolina.
Billy Ferreter, the number 9 hitter, showed bunt, pulled his bat back. Now they try to get him in here early with the bunt.
Well, it's not a bad play. If you push it to the right side, you get the runner in. And I think that's what he's trying to do, push it by the pitcher. As long as you can get it by the pitcher to the second baseman, it's an easy run. It's almost like a sacrifice. And I think that's what Ferreter's trying to do. Roth trying to stay away, trying to get a ground ball here and get a double play.
Team batting average for UConn, .311, but it just shows you how the new bats this season have changed the way coaches coach, because even though it's early in this game, you're going to try and get as many runs early, because runs are just harder to come by now.
Imagine that. You got to play baseball, right? I mean, sometimes we live in the world, we want to sit around and got Alex Rodriguez in the 3-hole and Mark Teixeira in the 4-hole and sit around for a three-run homer. But with these new bats, you know, the game has changed. You got to play the game. You got to move guys over. You got to bunt guys over. You got to hit and run more. And UConn has done that. They're one of the leaders in the nation in stolen bases. They will get aggressive on the base pass as well.
2 on the count to Ferreter. Gets it down, up the line. Runner trying to score. Here's the throw. He's out. Ahmed is gunned down at the plate by Walker on a great play by the South Carolina first baseman, and a nice tag by Robert Berry, too.
Yeah, Ferreter trying to push the ball past the pitcher, but got too much towards the first baseman. Walker fields it 2 hands, comes right home, easy out. Great idea by Ferreter, just bad execution.
Robert Berry, the catcher for South Carolina. This is his first time this season catching Roth, as Brady Thomas is dealing with a bit of an ankle injury. Sent to center. This should get South Carolina out of the inning. So UConn threatens but does not score. Defense gets him into a jam, but it bails him out in the end.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals is presented by the Capital One Venture Card, with double miles on every purchase every day. And in part by Lenovo. We make the tools, you make them do. Lenovo, for those who do.
This stadium is 3 years old, and it is absolutely fabulous here in Columbia, South Carolina. Alongside Paul LaDuca and Clay Matvick, we look at the occupants of this beautiful stadium, the South Carolina Gamecocks, and how they got here. They played 3 games right here on this field against Georgia Southern and 2 against Stetson in the Columbia Regional. And that Georgia Southern game was a little tight, but after that took care of Stetson, even though that 3rd game took parts of 2 days to complete because of weather suspending that 8-2 final. Brady Thomas leads it off, the cleanup hitter for the Gamecocks.
Brady Thomas, usually the catcher, been battling a little bit of an ankle injury. We talked to Coach Tanner yesterday, and he just didn't want him to go because he thought his lateral movement a little bit and blocking balls might hinder him a little bit. So, as you said earlier, Robert Berry, the first time he's caught Michael Roth this year, but Brady Thomas gunning it out in the lineup as the cleanup hitter.
Yeah, and he's a big part of this team captain, in fact. That pitch is inside, so now 3-0 to Thomas, who got the game-winning RBI against Georgia Southern in the regionals. Incidentally, it was his only hit of the regionals. He went 1 for 11 at the plate. Draws a leadoff walk here in the 2nd. And that'll bring up Adrian Morales.
Adrian Morales, the 3rd baseman. Ray Tanner's favorite player, he said he's ever coached. It's almost like a second coach on the team. Says just likes to communicate with him. And he said if he had 1 at bat, one pitch, he would have Adrian Morales be the hitter. That's how much confidence he has in him in these clutch situations.
Swings at the first pitch and lofts it into short right center field. Coming on as Andrioli battles the sun and makes a catch for out number 1. Coverage of the Super Regionals continue on ESPN and ESPNU tomorrow. First at 1 Eastern, Mississippi State and Florida in Game 3. Looked like Florida was on to the CWS, but Mississippi State got a walk-off today. Virginia and UC Irvine Game 2 tomorrow. That's going to be at 1 Eastern on the U. Virginia 6-0 winners over the Anteaters today. And Virginia, the #1 national seed. Brian O'Connor got Virginia to the College World Series in 2009, and he has got a team that appears poised to go right back.
You got a pitching staff that's #1 in the nation, and anytime you have that kind of pitching, you're going to win ball games. Another shutout today from the University of Virginia. South Carolina 6th in the nation in pitching. And UConn, I think 30 or 35 in the nation. So you're seeing a lot of the teams now with these new bats. Pitching wins ball games.
Pitching and defense has really been big. It's always big, but it really has come to the forefront here with the new bats. Jake Williams at the dish for South Carolina. And it's 0-2. Boy, these fans into every pitch. Jeff Hendricks behind home plate hasn't made a call yet, but hasn't on some kind of response.
Yeah, it looks like his zone is actually pretty tight and a good hitter zone as well. So not giving the pitchers that much on the inside or outside corner, and always like an umpire that's doesn't matter if he has a wide strike zone as long as he is consistent.
1-2. Williams was 2 for 7 with 4 RBIs in the region.
You say it all you want, but the bottom of the lineup is always key in these type of games. You can get some of these guys 7, 8, and 9 that can get on base for the top of the order. Makes a huge difference.
Breaking ball slapped to left, but right at Ferreter. He takes a couple of steps to his right to make the catch. 2 down. Let's go to the studio for an update with Steve Bunin.
All right, thank you, Clay. Interesting turn of events. Florida State, Texas A&M in Tallahassee. Tyler Nacken, the Aggies, the underdog, all of a sudden have a 5-2 lead. They were down 2-1 late in this game, but on ESPNU, they have mounted a big comeback and now have control as we move to the top of the 8th with still a 3-run lead. Meantime, they're not playing in Chapel Hill. Stanford with 4 in the 8th. It's a 6-5 game. Back to you.
All right, Steve. The winner of the Texas A&M Florida State Super will meet the winner of this Super Regional in Omaha. At first base is Brady Thomas. He led off the inning with a walk for South Carolina. Matt Barnes has retired the last 2 Carolina hitters, and now Peter Mooney at the plate.
It just shows you what Jim Penders was worried about with Barnes. He said that he's not great at holding runners. Brady Thomas has got a bad ankle, 1 stolen base, and he's thrown over to first base 3 times.
Hit well to right. Reaching up and making a circus catch is John Andrioli on the warning track. He knocked it down and came up with it like a wide receiver. That'll make the top 10 on SportsCenter. 1-0 UConn.
Snow
after
cones,
2.
anyone?
We're in South Carolina's capital city, Columbia. And UConn leading at 1-0 as we head to the 3rd inning. Leading off the inning, as it would be, John Andrioli, who made an outstanding catch in right field, maybe kept South Carolina from scoring a run. Brady Thomas was at first, and even though he does have a bad ankle, if that gets off the wall and takes a ricochet, he might score from first.
Yeah, especially when Andrioli jumped after it. He was on the ground and ball would have ricocheted and would have had to get up and get it, hit the cutoff man, and probably saved the run. It looked like he jumped a little soon, thinking he was going to get the impact of the wall a little bit, and ended up getting a little juggling act there, but a great concentration.
And Jim Penders will tell you he is a spark plug. Tries to bunt himself aboard. And it's 2 strikes. Named to the Clemson Regional All-Tournament team. If that name sounds familiar, his dad John played in the NFL with the New England Patriots. His grandfather Fran was a longtime baseball coach at Holy Cross.
This whole UConn team seems like they come brothers playing this and fathers playing there. The IQ and coaches' sons, and it's, you know, Coach Pender said that the IQ of this team is the highest IQ he's ever had as a whole. Just knowing how to play the game.
Yeah. Andrioli had a 21-game hit streak earlier this year, and he sprays that one to right field. Jake Williams charges in. It will hold Andrioli to a single. The leadoff man is on for the Huskies. This is the 17th NCAA appearance for UConn. They have been to 5 College World Series, 2 in the 50s, 1 in the 60s, and 2 in the 1970s. The last time, 1979. So if they can get to Omaha, New England is going to be in an uproar.
And you see that stat, 147 guys drafted in over 100 years, 10 of them this year. So it just shows you the talent level has been risen at UConn. And that's, you know, a testament to Coach Penders and the recruiting that they've done there. To have 3 picks in the first 85 picks is unbelievable.
And here is one of them, George Springer. Down the line, backhanded by Morales. Goes to second for 1, to first. Double play.
And that's more like the Gamecocks defense there. What a play by Morales to the right. An absolute bullet. And actually Springer can fly as well. I know he's had a little bit of a hamstring, but a backhand to the right and showing why he used to be a second baseman in junior college. Swinging and turning. Great turn by Wingo. And a great double play there.
We have seen some shoddy defense so far from the Gamecocks, and we've also seen some excellent defense. No play better than that one. The 5-4-3 started by Morales. There are 2 down for Mike Nemeth now.
And Rothko and Laredo again, I think that might be his plan against lefties, is to come a little sidearm.
Roth bobbles it. Walker there to bail him out. Steps on the bag for out number 3. 2.5 in the books. UConn 1, South Carolina 0.
Steve Bunin in studio earlier today. Florida, Mississippi State, bottom of the 9th, no out. Bulldogs, 3 outs from elimination. Nick Vickerson. Coach said he was going to have him bunt, said, I'll let him swing away. How about that? A walk-off to force a Game 3. That's tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Also today, the #1 overall seed, Virginia. No problem behind the #2 overall pick in the draft, Danny Hultzen. Cavaliers shut out the Anteaters 6-0.
Hultzen drafted #2 by Seattle. The ACC Pitcher of the Year. He can also handle the bat. We have seen that already in the Super Regional for Virginia.
Yeah, tremendous athlete. I know a lot of scouts like his, athleticism, not only as a pitcher but a hitter as well. So I think he's getting drafted as a pitcher, but it's always good to be be an athlete. Some pitchers they don't like to draft sometimes because they're not an athlete. It's one thing they can do, so it makes that ceiling a little bit higher.
Robert Berry leads it off for South Carolina. 1 ball and 1 strike. Matt Barnes, the ace for UConn, on the mound. Struck out the side in the first inning.
I like what Barnes is doing a little bit. He's sort of 88 to 91 to get ahead in the count with a little two-seamer, and then he can run it up there. He's hit 96 once today. I think that elevates that fastball when he gets a couple strikes on a hitter.
Another fly ball for Barnes. He threw 3 flyouts in the second inning, and he gets out #1 on a flyout to Springer in center. Here's our game summary. That run by UConn in the first inning, unearned, as Evan Marzilli had trouble handling it on the ground out in center field. We've seen a couple errors for South Carolina in the field, very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, we've seen both ends of the spectrum. An unbelievable play by Morales, but the 2 errors. Luckily, the second error didn't cost him a run. UConn had a chance to put some more runs on the board.
This is the 9-hole hitter, Stephen Neff. Ball and a strike.
Yeah, Stephen was a pitcher earlier in the year, and Coach Tanner, with all the injuries he had, especially with Jackie Bradley Jr., said, hey, grab a bat and start taking some BP. And he's got 5 home runs and only 60 at-bats. He's got a lot of power, very, very raw.
1-2. He's South Carolina's version of Rick Ankiel. Was the #2 starter until the shoulder flared up. But he has been a useful DH and outfielder when needed. That outfield has sustained a lot of injuries. We've talked about Jackie Bradley. As you look at Neff's pitching numbers, not a bad pitcher as well.
Yeah, he's got very good stuff. And Adam Matthews, who's been battling injuries as well, will probably play against lefties.
2-2.
Is said to be probably their second best athlete. I mean, we're talking to Coach Tanner. He said that him and Christian Walker, Jackie Bradley were his 2 best athletes, and haven't really had them all year. And there you see the great breaking ball by Barnes there to finish off Neff.
Strikeout #4 for Barnes. And back to the top, and Evan Marzilli. First strikeout since striking out the side in the first. First pitch swinging here is Marzilli. This is hit deep off the wall and left. Ferreter plays it well and makes it a close play at second. But it's a 2-out double for Marzilli. And that is the first base hit for South Carolina. And the 12th double on the year for Marzilli.
I think you're going to start seeing this a little bit more, Clay. Guy that throws this hard, going to start jumping on some fastballs early, not trying to get to that breaking ball or to that four-seamer. And Marzilli jumping on that first pitch, not trying to do much, driving it off the left field wall for a double, getting in scoring position.
Scott Wingo 0 for 1. Wingo showed bunt with 2 outs.
That makes no sense to me. I've never understood that, and I never will. You got a guy in scoring position, get ready to swing the bat, and while you're squaring around, what are you going to square around for? To bunt him over to third base? Maybe he's just taking a pitch there. I've never understood that.
Wingo on that all-regional team led the Gamecocks with a .500 average, was 5 for 10 with 4 runs scored here in Columbia last week. Outside now, 3-0.
Sometimes these power pitchers like Barnes are a totally different pitcher in the stretch. You take away that windup, you take a couple miles an hour off that fastball. Now it looks like he's struggling on the arm side to lefties here.
Three and 1. Matt Barnes lost his first 2 starts of the year to Minnesota and Indiana. And then he ran off 8 straight W's. And comes into this game 11 and 4. Off the glove of Nemeth into right field. Coming around to score is Marzilli, and this game is tied. RBI single for Scott Wingo.
That's the way you do when you get a hitter's count. 3-1, Scott Wingo looking for fastball, shouldn't be looking for anything else. Line drive into right field off the first baseman's mitt, and L.J. Mazzilli almost got that off the rebound off Nemeth's glove there, and it would have been very interesting if he would have been able to get it. Might have been a play at home plate, but there you see Wingo driving the ball to right field, and watch L.J. Mazzilli just missing it. As the ball goes into right field, we got a tie ball game. This might be a shot to put Wingo on his own.
Now Ray Tanner is going to call Christian Walker over to the on-deck circle to have a chat. And what do you think the gist of this conversation is?
I think very interesting. Might be saying, hey, let's give Scott a couple pitches to maybe try to steal second base. We talked about Barnes' struggles and holding on runners here. And Wingo has 7 stolen bases, only 8 attempts, only been thrown out 1 time. So maybe this is a good time with momentum, 2 outs, take a shot. If he does get thrown out, you got your best hitter leading off the next inning.
58 runs batted in on the year for Walker. And they do check Wingo. See Scotty's the team captain, all SEC first team, great in the field. Taken by the Dodgers in the 11th round this week. And this is inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
When you look up Scott Wingo, it should just say baseball player. You know, that's what he is. He's a baseball nut, just loves to come to the ballpark, plays the game the right way. And I think a great pick by the Dodgers.
Excuse me, 1-0 the count on Walker. Now it's 2-0.
Now you bring in the element of now trying to hold a runner on. Coach Pender says that Matt Barnes very rarely gets rattled. But you got 8,000 South Carolina fans starting to get a little bit on their toes.
Walker, a freshman All-American last year, had the game-winning home run here in the Super Regionals a year ago. And he was on the College World Series All-Tournament team. Breaking ball on a 2-0 pitch, and it lands in for strike 1.
That's what you call a polished pitcher right there. The best hitter on South Carolina, Christian Walker, 2-0 count. To be able to throw a slider when you throw 94 to 98 miles an hour for a strike. It's the reason why he was that high of a draft pick.
This is pulled foul. It's now 2-2. Count even to Christian Walker. Walker 3rd in the SEC in runs batted in this season. And Ray Tanner would love to see him deliver here. South Carolina has tied it up in the bottom of the 3rd inning. A 2-out double by Marzilli. He was driven home by Wingo with a single. Misses down, full count.
You have to have the runners in motion. It can be very interesting. He threw a 2-0 slider and a 2-1 slider to make it 2-2. Try to sneak a fastball by him. I would think he's going to come back with that slider here at 3-2.
Fastball pulled foul.
He went right after him. Good pitching right there by Matt Barnes. Keeping it a little bit unpredictable. The kind of things you need to do against great hitters like Christian Walker.
The first 9, 0 for 8. First time around, Barnes handled South Carolina pretty well, but the last 2 have produced a run. It's the 2nd full count for Barnes. Good battle here with Walker. Again, ripped foul. Well, Ray Tanner was telling you and I yesterday they need Christian Walker to be the RBI guy this weekend. And he didn't produce a lot of runs during the regional, but he was good at the plate. 5 for 11, drove in 1. He said his home run numbers have been down the last month or so. He's got a great chance to do some damage here. 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Swung on and rolled to the 3rd base side. Fuller has it. And UConn gets out of the inning without any further damage. But South Carolina produces 1 against the high draft pick Barnes. Welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Here's a look at the quad on the campus, University of South Carolina. As we go to the 4th inning in this Super Regional Game 1, UConn got 1 at the top of the 1st, and South Carolina getting their run in the bottom of the third. Here's a look at the Connecticut lineup 1.5 times through it.
On the top of the lineup, getting the job done for the UConn Huskies the way they've done all year. George Springer and Mike Nemeth. Nemeth, the all-time leader in UConn hits and RBIs and runs scored.
And it'll be Ryan Fuller, the number 5 hitter, to lead it off here in the 4th for UConn. Nemeth with that RBI single to plate Springer. Sends this to short. Mooney ranging over. Another high throw, but a good tag by Walker. That was a big league play at first by Walker to spare another Mooney error.
Yeah, Mooney ranging to his right. Got a good read on the ball. He's got very, very good feet, quickness. Fields it. The issue is he's not getting turned a little bit and sort of dropping his arm, and a great play. And it's always dangerous when a runner has to go head first into first base, and thank God no injuries over there, but a great play.
Now here is Nick Ahmed, who reached his last time up on a Mooney throwing error. That last time ended up in the Gamecocks dugout. Ahmed eventually went on to third base. UConn couldn't push him in, but Mooney, this is uncharacteristic play from him.
Yeah, it really is. You know, when we talked to Coach yesterday, he told us that Mooney was probably one of the better defenders he's ever seen in his program. And you can tell just the way he feels and moves his feet. Just a couple errant throws. Just needs to get his arm on top of the ball.
Mooney, a junior college transfer from Palm Beach Community College. That just missed. It's now 2-2. And Mooney has really become a fixture in this lineup every day for Ray Towner. You'll remember Bobby Haney was the shortstop last year for the College World Series team. Morales charging at third. No mistake there, 2 down. Now the NBA Finals continue on ABC Sunday night. Game 5, what an explosion for the Mavs. Now it's do or die for the Heat in Miami. LeBron and company. Can they respond to the pressure? The NBA Finals, Mavericks Heat Game 6 coverage Sunday at 7:30 on ABC. 2 outs for Doug Elliott. And they started low, 1 ball and no strikes.
Doug Elliott came to University of Connecticut as the bullpen catcher. Jim Pender said he is improved more than any player he has ever coached. Father played at UConn. Another father whose son followed his footsteps.
Yeah, Elliott's dad, also Doug, standout in the 70s and 80s for this team. Swing and a miss. 1-1 the count. Doug Elliott already has his undergrad at UConn, now 1 class away from his master's in accounting. Outside 2-1. And he actually had a job set up, Paul.
Yeah, I know.
That he was going to go chase, but he ended up getting drafted by the Brewers in the late rounds earlier this week. And he said, you know what? I'm going to put that on hold and I'm going to give pro baseball a shot.
Yeah, that's an awesome feeling, you know, for a guy that came to here as a bullpen guy, wasn't a guy that was going to probably play a lot of games, and to work as hard as he has. It doesn't matter where he got drafted. He's happy as can be and going to go play some pro baseball.
You're only young once.
Yep.
3 balls and a strike to Elliott. And chopped at home plate. Beautiful Carolina Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. There's a light breeze on a 91-degree night for Game 1 of this Super Regional Series between UConn and the number 4 national seed and defending national champ South Carolina. He's Paul LaDuca. I'm Clay Matford. Glad to have you along. Pitch is high, and it's a 2-out walk to Elliott. And that can't make Roth happy. That's his 2nd walk, and he walks the catcher with 2 outs.
Yeah, a little interesting that he went with the changeup there at 3-2. 2 outs and the catcher up. Would have much rather gone after him with a fastball there and make him put the ball in play, but Michael Roth's changeup is his pitch and feels like he can throw it at any time, and he has used it a couple times on 3-2 counts and his go-to pitch.
And Mike Friel, who walked his last time up, swings at the first pitch, short right, coming on as Williams to make the catch. So Roth gets out of trouble. We're tied at 1 here in Columbia.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series.
South Carolina, a bit of a surprise last year, winning it all in Omaha. And quite honestly, considering what they lost from last season and the devastating injury out in center field, Jackie Bradley Jr., the MVP of the College World Series last year, goes down with a wrist injury. He's still out indefinitely. The fact that here they are, a couple of wins away from getting back to Omaha, what a job by Ray Tanner.
Yeah, it really is a testament to him and his coaching staff as well to lose Jackie Bradley, who was the most explosive athlete. You know, Adam Matthews as well has been battling injuries as his two best athletes out all year. Like we said in the opening, he just said we're doing the little things so much better, playing better defense, although we haven't seen the best defense from the Gamecocks tonight, but just playing better defense and doing things that win ball games.
Here's how they won it. 2-1 the final in 11 innings. Whit Merrifield with the walk-off game winner. He was one of the guys that didn't come back this year. They also lost their Friday night starter, Blake Cooper, as this one is fouled off the bat of Brady Thomas. Stays 2 strikes. So, I mean, there were some pieces that weren't there to begin with, and then you lose the MVP of the CWS from a year ago to an injury. I mean, things weren't stacking up, and here they are.
Yeah, well, everybody just stepped up. Michael Roth, we talked to Coach Tanner, too, and he said, I didn't think he was going to be my #1. I sort of just gave him the ball, and he just took off. And Scott Wingo, the second baseman, 270, 260 hitter his first 3 years here. Now he's a 335 hitter. Just everybody sort of stepped up their game a little bit. And he said it almost made their team gel a little bit better.
2 strikes to Thomas, who leads off in the 4th. 1-2.
There you see Barnes' change up there trying to finish a hitter with it. Shows me that he has a lot of confidence in it. He's going to have to use it more to these lefties as well earlier in the count.
South Carolina, the first time through the order against Barnes, really couldn't touch him. 8 of the 9 hitters were put down. They got the 1 walk, but then Marzilli got the double in the 3rd inning, and Wingo driving him in with the RBI single, the next hitter. So second time around has produced a run. Nice backhand by Nemeth. Barnes covering. Who says Barnes can't get off the mound? I was pretty impressed. He got over there quite quickly.
Yeah, not too bad. Great play by Mike Nemeth there, ranging to his right. And first thing he does do, too, is get up on his feet, get the ball out of his glove, show the pitcher the baseball. Never trusted those pitchers when I played first base. Got to show them that baseball.
Always blame the other guy.
Yeah. Well, pitchers always claim that they're athletes. And I know Kyle probably claims that he's athlete, too, but they're not athletes.
Yeah, I've heard that a time or two. 1 out for Morales, and he'll take strike 1. You know, you talk about this UConn pitching staff. Team ERA 3.03 coming into the night, and the starters a 2.53 ERA. The starters 35-13 coming into the night. Barnes has 11 of those wins. I mean, the starters have been absolutely excellent.
Well, they really have. Greg Nappo as well, who came back for his senior season. He told Coach Jim Penders, I want to come back and win a Big East championship. See a nasty fastball right there inside. And it seems like Barnes, when he goes to that arm side, he gets that little tail. When he gets on top of it, he gets a little sink, and he can eat up right-handed hitters. And this is a good hitter right here, and that was a tough pitch.
1-2 strikes to Adrian Morales. Boy, that just missed off the corner.
Classic pitching there, pound in and try to finish with a breaking ball away, and just a little bit too much away. Good discipline by Morales to lay off that.
Fuller at third, sets and throws, and 2 down for South Carolina here in the 4th. And after giving up that run on back-to-back hits. Now Barnes has settled down and retired 3 straight again.
Yeah, it's almost like both of these guys have settled down. You know, they had Michael Roth on the ropes a little bit, did UConn in the first couple innings, and only were able to scratch away 1-1, and he seems like he has settled down. Maybe Barnes is going to try to settle down after last inning giving up a run.
Here's Jake Williams now for South Carolina. Rips this one foul. Trying to go the other way. Williams lined out to left field. His first time up, he's 0 for 1. Here's a guy that got back into the good graces quickly of his teammates and his coach. He was suspended in April for an alcohol-related incident. But a big part of this team now in the outfield, again, because of the injuries, because of specifically that injury to Bradley. They have needed all hands on deck in the outfield, and that's Williams included.
Yeah, sometimes you find out about a kid or any kind of player, how they react after some adversity. And, you know, coach said that he's done everything right. And you know what? We've all done stuff before. We all got things we're not proud of. And, you know, sometimes you got to own up to it and move on. And that's what he's done.
1-2 pitch to Jake Williams, the right fielder. And this is popped up out of play.
And it seems like Barnes is starting to get into a rhythm. He's getting the ball, letting it go a little bit. No wasted motion in between pitches. And what that does, it keeps your defense on their toes a little bit better, and you work a little bit faster.
You see the distribution for Barnes. That was a nasty pitch. No doubt it fooled Williams, but it was out of the zone.
Yeah, it might have been on the bottom of the strike zone, sort of a backup slider. He's thrown a couple of those, probably the toughest pitch to hit in baseball. You always think it's going to break a little bit, and it backs up, and that one might have caught the bottom of the zone.
Tried it again, and again is low. It's a full count. You see the Big East Pitcher of the Year, the first Husky to win that honor since Charles Nagy. He did it in 1989, went on to be a first-round pick of the Indians. Walked him. And that is the second walk allowed by Barnes in this game.
Good at bat by Jake Williams there, and I think Barnes, that 1-2 pitch that was not called a strike, might have rattled him a little bit. He asked the umpire where it was. The umpire thought it was down, and might have lost his concentration for a split second there.
That'll bring up Mooney. Mooney hit a ball that was destined to get off the wall in right field, but Andrioli, back in the second inning, made a great catch. Strike one.
Busting out the new batting gloves today. Huh? Those things are white.
Yeah. Or he bleached the heck out of them before the Super Bowl. And a time called and granted by home plate umpire Jeff Hendricks. It was a late call for time by Mooney, but he got it. We're going to look at the umpires for the Super Regional. And when you get to this point in the season, only the best umpires are working. And these guys are among the best.
And I think he's done a good job behind home plate. And got a tight strike zone, but I think he's been tight on both sides.
Andrioli will not catch this one. Runners at the corners and 2 outs for South Carolina here in the fourth. Boy, Mooney has ripped 2 balls.
Yeah, last time it was a breaking ball that he ripped to right. And here just gets a changeup out over the plate and rips that to right as well. And now we got first and third and 2 outs for Robert Beery.
Now that'll bring up Robert Berry, who was outstanding in the regional. 5 for 11 with a double, a triple, a grand slam, and 5 runs batted in. He can put South Carolina ahead with 1 swing of the bat. Boy, that almost got away from Elliott. I don't know if he got crossed up, but he is going to go out to talk to Barnes.
That's a good play by Elliott, by the way. 94 miles an hour on a pull fastball that was in the other batter's box to get over there. And Coach Penders did tell us that he is phenomenal at blocking baseballs and staying in front of everything. Unbelievable how much better he's got with his catching skills.
And what did he say to Barnes there?
I think he told him, hey, just settle down a little bit. You still got 2 outs. Don't worry about the runners on the base paths, and let's go after Beery.
Again, and it gets away. South Carolina leads.
Looked like he did the same thing, Clay. Almost pulled a slider there as well, and that was even farther outside. Really no chance for Elliott. And that's a big run here. Now you need to settle down and try to minimize the damage here a little bit, as the pitching coach is going to come out and talk. But just a pull slider that's almost in the other's batter's box. Tough play for Elliott.
That's the 9th wild pitch on the year for Matt Barnes, and it leads to a South Carolina run. The go-ahead run in this game, and Justin Blood, the UConn pitching coach, comes out for a word.
And Clay, to me, a totally different pitcher in the stretch than he has been in the windup. You know, when he's in the windup, he seems like he gets more in the rhythm, gets the ball a little bit, and goes after it. When he gets in the stretch a little bit, it seems like his timing is a little off, and his arm is not catching up.
And Barnes still has to deal with Berry. Fastball blew it right by him. 2-1.
Whatever Coach Justin Blood told him, he said reach back and throw it, and that was old country hardball right there.
Again, the first 9 through the order didn't do anything. Second time around, they're rattling Barnes a bit. Breaking ball. Fanned on. 2-2.
I mean, you see Barnes before those last 2 pitches, and how about those 2 pitches? I mean, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone, then a nasty slider right there. Back to 2-2. You can see glimpses of just electric stuff.
There's that slider called strike 3. Berry goes down looking. Barnes not happy with himself as he walks off the mound. But he gets out of the inning. 2-1. South Carolina leads it now. We'll talk with the bench boss when we come back. We go to the 5th inning. South Carolina now with its first lead of the night. We talked to Ray Tanner, the head coach, now in his 15th year with the Gamecocks. And coach going up against Matt Barnes here tonight. And Matt looked pretty good against you the first time through the order. The second time, though, you've got a couple of runs. What's been the approach against Barnes?
Well, Barnes is really good. I mean, he's not a first-round draft pick for nothing. His stuff is outstanding, and we didn't get very many good swings at him early. A little better in the last couple of innings, but he's a good one. We got to battle throughout.
Hey, Coach, I know Michael has settled down a little bit, but uncharacteristically, you guys have made a couple errors. You think it might be a little bit of the jitters?
Well, it might be. I don't know. This is a big game, but hopefully we've settled in. It'll be a good ball game from here on out.
Coach Tanner, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
There's Ray Tanner. What a job he has done here in Columbia. Finally broke through last year with a College World Series title. And, you know, when we talked with him this week, he said, I think I've gotten better with age. I've learned to relax, have more fun with the guys, and it's made me a better coach.
Yeah, I remember you asking him, hey, do you ever go on vacation? And he's like, this is vacation. What I do is vacation. Sitting there swapping Tommy Lasorda stories, and it seems like every good coach has got one of those.
He is a great baseball man. As Billy Ferreter leads it off for UConn here in the top of the 5th inning. He is the number 9 hitter. Then it'll be Mazzilli and Andrioli. This one sent back to the screen by Ferreter.
Billy Ferreter was a Gatorade Football Player of the Year in New England. Coach Pender says unbelievable athlete and really can run as well. Sort of turned it on. Had a remarkable turnaround. He's really struggled earlier in the season and really come of age of late.
Inside out swing sends that foul. Stays 1-2. Yeah, as the season has warmed up, so has Ferreter's bat. I mean, 42 of his 53 hits this year have come since April 15th. Outside 2-2. And UConn was asked during the press conference yesterday about the weather and the heat down here in South Carolina. And he says, guaranteed none of my guys will be complaining about the heat. We play in snow part of the year, so we're enjoying this time down in the South.
Yeah, like I said, I live up in the Northeast in Long Island as well. So I know it is a little bit hot out here, but if you would have spent the winter, especially April, it rained so much as well. So
they went into April with just 4 home games under their belt because of postponements and cancellations and just rotten weather. 2-2 to Ferreter. Rolled on the left side, charging is Mooney. He's had a hard time throwing the ball in this game, but that's right on the screws for out number 1.
sometimes that's the kind of play that can get somebody in a groove, and even in a groove in fielding. And Mooney with a play that he just caught and threw over there, didn't have to think much about it, right on target. Somewhat like a shooter in basketball when they go to the free throw line, get back in their rhythm a little bit. It works with fielders as well.
And now here's Mazzilli again, who's 0 for 2 in this game. A ground out and a fly out. Swings at the first pitch. Strike one. UConn at home, very good. On the road, that record I think is even more impressive. 22-6 away from home this year.
Well, that would give you an indication of whether they played more games on the road than they did at home. But I give Coach credit. They played 30 teams in the RPI top 50. They went out and played a lot of quality teams, battle tested, and prepared them well for the Super Regional.
Crowd getting behind Roth. 1 and 2 is very set up outside. This is the first team from New England to make the Super Regional since the format began in 1999. And the last New England team in the College World Series, Maine, back in 1986. So it's been a long while for that part of the country. Roth off the mound, throws out Mazzilli. And Roth has retired 3 in a row.
Now you know why Michael Roth is 12-3 with a 1.10 ERA. He has really settled down from the second inning on, keeping his changeup down in the zone, working his fastball in and out. Like we said, he's not going to overpower you. He's going to try to keep you off balance, and that's what he's done the last 3 innings.
Andrioli stands in, hit his last time up, tries to get a hit here with the bunt out in front of home plate. Berry hops on it and quickly throws him out. A 1-2-3 inning. Roth has 12 groundouts now in this game. We're going to talk with Jim Penders, the 8th-year head coach of the Huskies. His team down a run. We played 5. 2-1 South Carolina. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, Jim Penders, the head coach of UConn, Big East Coach of the Year on headset now joining us. And Coach, you got the job in 2004 there at UConn, your alma mater. You've turned it around in a hurry. You're in back-to-back NCAA tournaments, program's first Super Regional. How have you been able to do it?
Well, you know, I got to give all the credit to my assistant coaches. Justin Blood's done an unbelievable job recruiting and developing pitchers, and Chris Podeswa with the hitters and Steve Malinowski with the hitters. You know, they deserve all the credit. They've gotten these guys here. They've gotten them better. And we've got a pretty rich history, too. There's a lot of folks who came before us, 5 College World Series appearances. We haven't gotten back there yet, so I don't know what I've turned around yet. We got a couple more games to win.
Hey, Coach, Matt Barnes was really dominant early. It seems like he's struggling a little bit out of the stretch. What did Coach Blood go tell him on the mound there?
Yeah, he's a little out of sync. He's dropping his slot. His slot's a little bit inconsistent with the fastball and the changeup. And he yanked one of those breaking balls there and went to the backstop. You know, we got a freebie with the bobble from center field. They got a freebie back. We got to answer and hopefully have a few better at bats this coming inning.
All right, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Coach Jim Penders, who was an All-Big East player at UConn from 1992 to 1994, gave politics a try before getting into coaching. This one swung on and hit well to left center field. Has a chance. It's off the base of the wall for Stephen Neff. Bobbled in the outfield. He's going to try for the extra base, and he's into third base.
Stephen Neff actually a little bit lucky there. He slowed down going around second, but when the ball was bobbled, sort of looked up and had third base to his own. And we talked about Neff, a guy that was a pitcher earlier in the year, has got a lot of power, 5 home runs and only 60 at-bats, and this is what he brings. Power to the alleys, and the ball bobbled in the outfield there, trying to pick it up with his glove instead of his bare hand.
There'll be an error on Ferreter, allowing Neff to get to third. And now the top of the order, and Evan Marzilli is up there. He swings at the first pitch and sends it foul.
Give South Carolina a little bit of credit, Clay. They've actually, since the first couple innings, started taking the ball the other way. Marzilli with the ball off the wall. Neff a ball in left center as well. Taking what Barnes gives to him.
7th double on the year for Neff. Late swing for Marzilli. 2 strikes.
Very interesting here with Coach Penders having the infield in with nobody out. Saying that runs might be at a premium with Michael Roth on the mound here. This is sort of the cutoff line, like the 5th, 6th inning, whether you want to have the infield back and give up a run.
This part of the order has produced a run already tonight for Carolina. Marzilli a double and a run scored back in the 3rd inning. It was Wingo who's on deck who drove him in. Called strike 3. 6th strikeout for Barnes, and it's a big one here for out number 1.
Great piece of pitching by Matt Barnes. 2 breaking balls to get 0-2. Sneaking a fastball right here by Marzilli, right at the knees. Great pitch. And this gets a little interesting here, whether you want to face Wingo in this situation, the kind of guy that puts the ball in play, probably the last guy that Coach Penders wants to see in the batter's box right now. And you might pitch carefully to him, thinking Walker on deck. I know Walker's your best hitter, but he is also a right-handed hitter, and he set up the double play. So very, very interesting, but he went right after Wingo with a fastball.
No one is in the dirt, knocked down by Elliott, keeping that in front. Remember, a run scored in the 4th inning for Carolina because of a Barnes wild pitch. And so Elliott now with a runner at 3rd base, his position becomes all the more important. He's a pretty good defensive catcher. Ball and a strike. Back up the middle, base hit. Neff scores, and it's 3-1 South Carolina as Wingo has his 2nd run batted in this game.
Like we said, a dangerous guy. A guy who's only struck out 29 times and 212 at-bats. Kind of guy that's going to put the ball in play. 2nd RBI and a changeup that Matt Barnes just left up in the zone. Wingo does not try to do much with it. Drives it back through the middle. And a good piece of hitting. And again, Wingo on first base with a chance to press the issue here and maybe put the runners in motion.
Walker is 0 for 2, and he lofts this one foul on the right side.
By the way, watching Christian Walker take BP today, he hit a couple balls by the grill. We wanted to get some hot dogs and burgers from on the way here. He's got some big-time power.
Yeah, he does. No question about it. Again, hasn't hit a home run since April 26th, but he could cut loose at any moment. There you see Wingo over at first. This is his 248th career game. That's 3rd all-time at South Carolina. Tapped foul, 2 strikes. And Wingo now 10 for 18 on the year with runners at 3rd and less than 2 outs. He has been a guy, like you said, clutch in that 2-hole.
Those type of guys and those 2-hole hitters are the toughest guys. And I always refer to a guy in Philadelphia, Placido Polanco. I'd rather have Ryan Howard or a zillion other guys hit than that guy in a clutch situation, because you know he's going to hit a line drive somewhere.
That gets away from home plate again. Wingo round second hard. He's going to go to 3rd. Standing up. He never stopped.
Scott Wingo just showing everybody why, if you look at his name up in the dictionary, it just says baseball player. That's what he does. And another pulled breaking ball. That slider, very tough play by Elliott, trying to get out there to block it. Probably would have been better off just trying to backhand it and just try to knock it down. And Wingo had his mind made up. He was going to 3rd base. And these are the type of things that Coach Tanner said they've been doing. These little things. Now they got another runner at third base, less than 2 outs.
That had to be backhanded by Elliott.
Yeah.
That was the second wild pitch thrown by Barnes in this game.
I can feel Elliott's pain. I've been there before behind the plate. You got a guy that's yanking, and you can see he's sort of reaching over there knowing this breaking ball is being pulled. Just the kind of thing that Barnes is getting ahead of himself a little bit, needs to use his legs a little more.
The 2-2 raked in the right. 4-1 South Carolina.
The Carolina faithful getting charged up here in Columbia, all on their feet. And another good piece of hitting. Christian Walker, a fastball away. Another pull fastball. Barnes seems like he's pulling everything to the right side of the plate. And Walker with a nice swing, not trying to do much, serves it in the right.
And that catches the inside corner to Brady Thomas. As the miscues for UConn have bit them a little bit. 2 wild pitches and an error which cost them 3 runs. They trail 4-1 now. Now you said it before, as this one gets out of the glove of Elliott, it allows Walker to advance. And you said it before, Paul, the defense and the pitching at this time of the year, they're paramount.
They are paramount, and it looks like Doug Elliott is just having one of those nights when you have a pitcher out there who is very unpredictable, who's throwing electric stuff. It's not like a guy that's throwing 85 miles an hour. This guy's in the high 90s. And Elliott just having a little bit of trouble back there.
Yeah, it's a pass ball on Elliott. Ball and a strike now to Thomas.
I think this is what South Carolina does so well, though, Clay. It's almost like playing with house money. You have the lead, you're at home, you got to keep pressing the issue. It's almost like sticking your foot on the throat.
And there's a lot of game left, but certainly at this point in the game, South Carolina has taken control of all the momentum. Checked his swing, and it's foul. 1-2, it stays. Thomas walked his first time up, grounded out back in the 4th. South Carolina, a run in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. They have got 2 here in the 5th. And just 1 out here and a runner in scoring position, and Walker out at second base.
Barnes now at 92 pitches, but no activity in the UConn bullpen yet. And sometimes Barnes being 6'6", sometimes your biggest attribute is your biggest weakness. Sometimes guys that are that tall got more moving parts, so it's really tough to repeat. And that's what he's having trouble with, repeating that same motion. And really struggling with the ball away to lefties right now on the arm side.
1-2 to Thomas. Breaking ball. Tap foul. You know, Matt Barnes at the Clemson Regional was not on his game in his only start. Gave up 7 runs on 9 hits, walked 3, lasted only 4 1/3 against Coastal Carolina. Justin Blood, after Barnes's shortest outing of the year, said that his pitcher was just catching too much of the plate. And now here in this game, South Carolina has gotten to him. It took 1 time through the order after seeing Barnes once, but better swings the 2nd and 3rd time through the order. And of course, in the field, UConn not helping itself.
Yeah, and a bunch of grinders it seems like South Carolina has, and I can see why they've won so many ball games. Just tough at bat after tough at bat. One of the best pitchers in the nation has almost got 100 pitches, and we're not even out of the 5th inning.
2-2. Back up the middle. Over the glove of Ahmed. Coming home is Walker. He'll score easily. And it's 5-1 Gamecocks. Ball rolls away. And Thomas stands at second.
Starting to unravel here for the UConn Huskies. Another good piece of hitting coming back up the middle. And the throw that was coming to second baseman, and wondering where Mark Nemeth was. I think Mark was trailing the runner. The ball thrown to the middle of the diamond. The Coach Pender is going to go out to the mound.
Three straight RBI singles for the Gamecocks.
And three guys not trying to do too much play. Back up to the middle, and a good read by Christian Walker at second base as well. Line drive right over his head. He did not freeze at all. He knew it was over the shortstop's head. And then another run on board. And we talked about minimizing the damage. That's what UConn needs to do right now to try to stay in this ball game.
Well, it hasn't all been Matt Barnes' fault here this inning. He has given up the 4 hits, but 2 errors in the inning as well for UConn. And some activity now in the UConn bullpen. Dan Feehan, a sophomore right-hander, is starting to loosen up as Barnes turns and fires to second base, trying to get Thomas napping. Again, you look back to the first inning, the way Barnes started, struck out the side in the first with no problems, barely had time to work up a sweat. And there is the 5th hit of the inning for South Carolina. The Gamecocks now 5 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. It's a 4-run lead for the Gamecocks here in the 5th inning, and they're not done yet. They've got 1 out. Alongside Paul LaDuca, former All-American at Arizona State before a big league career on Clay Matvick. This is game 1 of the Super Regional here in Columbia. UConn upset Clemson to get here. South Carolina hosted the regional and blew right through it in 3 games. They're the number 4 national seed. And they're facing Matt Barnes, who was drafted in the first round by the Red Sox earlier this week, and they're finally getting to him. Virginia leading the series over UC Irvine 1 game to none after a 6-0 win earlier today. Dallas Baptist and Cal coming up tonight on ESPNU in game 1. And Florida State and Texas A&M. A&M winning game 1. And that's going to be it for Matt Barnes. Jim Penders has decided he is going to send his ace to the showers. (5-1). South Carolina leads it. They've got runners at the corners and 1 out here in the 5th. And Feehan is going to come out of the pen.
Steve Bunin in studio. Another upset in the Super Regionals. Texas A&M at Florida State. Mike McGee with 2 on, grounds out to end the game. The 5th-seeded Seminoles are down 1-0. They'll face an elimination game tomorrow, 4 Eastern, ESPNU. And on ESPN right now, scoreless in Austin, top 3. Texas is 1 loss from elimination. Again, that game on ESPN. Coming up on ESPNU in a matter of minutes, Jordan Krizan and Dallas Baptist against Cal. 2 of the great storylines of this Super Regionals. Clay, Paul, back to you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that series. Cal and Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist was playing in the NAIA just 6 years ago, and now a couple of wins away from getting to Omaha. There's Matt Barnes. You see his line. Now, of course, he is still responsible for the runners at the corners, but his night is done after 97 pitches. Here's Morales at the plate. Excuse me, Jake Williams at the plate for South Carolina. Williams a walk his last time up and a run scored. Dan Feehan is on, the right-hander, making his 27th relief appearance.
Feehan, a true sinker ball pitcher, and I'm sure Coach Penders, as you saw that sinker there, trying to get a ground ball here to get out of this inning. Got a slider as well. But really tough on right-handed hitters, and Barnes just too inconsistent in repeating his delivery in the last couple innings.
That's in the dirt, 1-2. And this has been a long inning for the backstop, Elliott, as well as the pitchers. Now Williams, you see his night 0 for 1. Walking a run scored. This is the 7th hitter to come to the plate in this inning for South Carolina, as they have scored 3 times. Now 2-2.
Sometimes these sinker ball pitchers, you get the notion that they're going to come into you and you try to pull these guys. Actually, you want to try to take these guys the other way. Keep the ball off the ground. Try to hit that 4-hole over there. Drive a runner in.
3-2, and Elliott kept that from going to the wall again.
Yeah, Elliott's earning his stripes back there tonight. And multiple balls in the dirt. Had a couple of barns that were just really, really tough to block. Now to see if Coach Tanner puts the runners in motion here. Morales does not run too well at first base.
Runner does go, and it's fouled away as Morales was off on the pitch. I think you said it before. Morales is a real thinker over there at first base. And Ray Tanner thinks he is going to be a coach. Of any of the players he's ever coached, he thinks he has got the best makeup to be a coach someday. 3-2 offering. Again, Morales goes, swung on and missed, 2 outs, and there will be no throw from Elliott, as Morales now in scoring position with Thomas.
Very interesting there, Clay. If Elliott would have thrown that baseball, I think they might have called Morales out and would have been a double play, because Williams went right across home plate. And sometimes as a catcher, instinctively, you sort of just back off. But I think if Elliott might have thrown that ball, they might have got an easy out there, because he walked right across the plate.
Would have been catcher's interference, yeah. Here's another look at that as Williams walked right in front of Elliott.
Swings through and he just walks right in front. And Elliott, you see, if he throws the baseball there, you don't have to make contact in college baseball. If it alters the throw from the catcher, it's an out. But it's so tough to do as a catcher. I had a lot of coaches always tell me, why don't you just throw it? Just your instincts are like, I want to stop. I don't want to hit the batter, you know?
Right. Or hurt yourself potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you caught for a decade in the big leagues. Yeah, I'm sure that happened to you quite a few times.
A lot of times, and sometimes you just sort of stop. And in Major League Baseball, you have to make contact. It's a different rule here in college. You don't have to make contact. If it alters your throw at any bit, it's a judgment call by the home plate umpire.
As it happens, runners in scoring position. Morales at second, Thomas at third. 2 outs for Mooney. Single his last time up. That's in the dirt, and Elliott shifts over to make that stop. 3-1.
I don't think Doug Elliott, when he came to the ballpark tonight, didn't think it was going to be blocking drills, but that's what it's been.
It really has. And who would have thunk that Barnes would have thrown a couple of wild pitches that ended up scoring a South Carolina run after one of those. 3-1 pitch from Dan Feehan. Walked him, bases loaded for South Carolina. And Robert Berry, who hit a grand slam in the regionals, is coming up.
Not a horrible thing by Feehan there. You don't want to give a left-handed hitter that much to hit when you're a sinker ball pitcher. Had a base open and go after the right-hander. I mean, this is, I know it's 5-1, but this is a gigantic out. And a base hit here really would blow this game wide open.
And UConn doesn't even want to think about a home run. Elliott scoops that one up. Robert Berry hit a big grand slam against Stetson in the regional here in Columbia last week. He was the MVP of the regional. And he is 3 for 6 with the bases loaded this season. Not a bad number. Boy, Tanner disappointed that this guy didn't get drafted this week.
I was really surprised.
Swung on and missed, 1-1.
Considering he's the most versatile defender on the team. He said he can play right field, left field, third base, and catch. I mean, that's so invaluable, especially at the professional level. A lot of guys don't want to get back there and put on those tools of ignorance, and a guy that's gotten better behind the plate, but just a versatile guy. He was really surprised he didn't get drafted.
The 1-1. Chopped to third. Fuller steps on the bag, and UConn breathes a sigh of relief. But South Carolina gets 3 on the board in the 5th. Couple of errors mixed in, and UConn down 4 now after 5.
Two balls, no strikes to Merrifield. Line drive, right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series.
Now the College World Series will start next week, and one of these two teams will be there. South Carolina leading in this game 1 of the Super Regional, 5-1 as we head to the 6th inning. Now some weekend stories. The SEC East on fire. They outscored the opponents 30-7. And how about the Bulldogs forcing game 3 against the Gators? Nick Vickerson, the hero. Arizona State grabbing a game 1 win as they defeat Texas 3-1 in Austin. And surprising that Taylor Youngman has lost 2 starts in a row for Texas. He was 13-0 for the last 2 starts.
Yeah, and Tim Esme, head coach at Arizona State. Talked to him before. Ez was a graduate assistant when I was at Arizona State, and really was up in the air whether they were going to play in the postseason this year with the pending suspension, 1-year suspension.
And Arizona State certainly has the tools to win it all this year, as Springer leads it off here for UConn. He has a single and 2 plate appearances. The other time grounded into a double play. This is a very likable guy, great character guy for UConn, and don't think for a minute that that didn't factor into the decision by the Houston organization. They drafted him 11th overall. Just a great guy, and if you read the fan blogs for the Houston Astros, there's nothing negative. Everybody's really excited to have George Springer.
Yeah, the ceiling for this kid is so high as well. He's still somewhat raw. You watch him take batting practice, and he has that type of ball where it hits another level. It just keeps going. That kind of power. Probably can still put on some more weight, but a guy that can run as well, just a complete 5-tool player.
6'3", 200 pounds. Yeah, so he's going to fill out 10 total draft picks for the UConn program. Pop straight up. This might be playable for Robert Berry, the catcher. He throws the mask away and adjusts well. He comes back into fair territory and makes the catch.
Yeah, Berry a little bit lucky there. Needed to turn a little bit more. For all you young catchers out there, whenever you get a pop-up, you need to get around it. Sort of sidestepped it a little bit and snow-coned it. That might have been a base hit. It landed almost in fair territory.
Yeah, I think it would have been.
Yeah, so Berry needed to get around it a little bit more. As you see him go up, sort of just stands. He needs to get around it a little bit more and back it up more towards home plate, and sort of gets caught on the side. But like Coach said, he's such a versatile defender and such a good athlete. He may well get that catch. That's a difficult catch.
And you, as a former catcher, would know this better than anybody. I mean, you need some help from your teammates on a play like that, too, on how to look out for the bat that's down on the ground, how to make sure you don't step on your own mask, and to get some help with directions.
Well, the big key with that is, too, is you got to really take a big sigh first just to check everything out. Make sure you throw your mask away from you. You're not running into that. Look where everything is first, and then find the baseball. It's almost like an outfielder finding the wall and running to a spot. You need to see where everything is as a catcher, and it's your ball first to an infielder calls you off.
Robert Berry doing a nice job here in his first time this season catching Michael Roth. This one chopped to first. Walker to Roth covering, quickly 2 down. Paul, you have played a long time in the big leagues. Before that, you were at Arizona State for just 1 year, but what a year it was. A finalist for the Golden Spikes Award, and your team went on to the 1993 College World Series.
Well, thank you. I got to play for the legendary coach Jim Brock at Arizona State, who really turned my life around as a person. Jim was almost like the Bobby Knight of baseball. He'd test you mentally, and he would test you within the first couple minutes that he saw me. And I really appreciate it. It made me a more mentally tough player. Take my game to another level.
The late Jim Brock unfortunately passed away way too soon, and was still coaching when he left us.
His wife Pat, I know, probably watching the regional over there in Texas as well. Still big into Arizona State baseball.
Now here's Roth again, showing his dominance, as he's got 2 quick outs here in the 6th.
This is what good pitchers do: throw strikes, stay in the zone, and mix speeds. And it seems like since the 2nd inning, he's just really settled down, pounding that strike zone. And you can do that when you have a 4-run lead.
Walks Fuller after retiring 6 in a row. It's a 2-out base runner. 3rd walk for Roth. Now the college baseball super regionals continue tomorrow. Action starting at 1 Eastern on ESPN and ESPNU. And mark your calendars for June 18th when the College World Series begins in Omaha. Visit ncaa.com for more information. And a new ballpark in Omaha. TD Ameritrade is ready to open up. Rosenblatt no more, and that is a beauty. It's still got the new car scent. Everybody going to be breaking that one in, and it's going to be a lot of fun in Omaha.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Omaha a little bit. Got to play there in the College World Series and played many games there when I was in the Pacific Coast League. I think I spent too many years in the Pacific Coast League playing the Omaha Royals.
At Rosenblatt?
Yeah, at Rosenblatt. So I think it's a great thing, and a brand new stadium, and the fans in Omaha will be out to watch. Believe it.
Ground ball off the bat of Ahmed. Mooney handles it, flips to Wingo, and Roth has really done a nice job tonight. Here's our game summary as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. South Carolina 5, UConn 1. We've seen a pair of aces go for these two teams in this game. Matt Barnes is already out for UConn. Michael Roth has been dynamite so far for South Carolina. What has impressed you about his performance so far?
Well, I think he's settled down. Earlier in the beginning of the game, it seemed like UConn was coming out swinging. I think Michael Roth realized that, been able to settle down a little bit. His defense was a little shaky early, but defense of late, and pounding the strike zone now with a 4-run lead.
Yeah, and one thing, too, that we need to point out is that he's got a different catcher tonight. As someone who has played in the major leagues as a catcher, when you work with a pitcher for the first time, how does that affect a pitcher?
Well, I think it can affect, but Michael Roth being such an intelligent pitcher, being a senior leader as well, or a junior leader as well, when you have an 11-4 record, although the pitches come from the dugout. We asked Coach Tanner about that. Is Robert going to call the game? No, but they have the right to shake as well. With Michael Roth working fast, making it easy on his catcher.
Stephen Neff is retired. Now they're going to say a foul ball, excuse me. So it's going to be a 2-strike count now on the number 9 hitter for South Carolina.
And Neff got it started in that big run, big inning with the double to left center, showing his athleticism and his power. Just a raw athlete.
Neff, an excellent high school hitter as it takes outside 1 and 2. He was the 2007 Player of the Year here in South Carolina out of Lancaster High School. And Ray Tanner saw a need, saw Neff available, and knew that he could swing it, so he started taking some BP, and you can see why. I mean, he is a natural hitter from the left-hand side.
You can see why they're excited about him as well.
That's his second hit.
11 extra base hits, now 12 extra base hits, and out of his 18 with the double earlier, and now a single here, and leads the team in slugging percentage.
Alongside Paul LaDuca, former Arizona State All-American, I'm Clay Matvick. This is game 1 of the best of 3 in the Super Regional. South Carolina with 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and 3 in the 5th. UConn's lone run coming in the 1st inning. Trying to bunt Neff over is Marzilli. Marzilli in this game 1 for 3 with a double and a pair of strikeouts. He scored the first run of this contest.
Maybe Marzilli going to square again here, trying to move runners up. Never enough runs.
And kind of poked at that one and didn't get a piece of it.
Looks like he's trying to go down the third baseline with that thing.
Marzilli had issues with a rapid heartbeat last month, and he had a procedure that settled everything down, fixed the problem, and he's fine. But a real scare for the Cranston, Rhode Island native about a month ago.
Yeah, and he sort of had a little bit of a setback, obviously, and timing can be an issue. It seems like he's swinging the bat a lot better and in better health.
Outside 2-1 to Evan Marzilli. And this again a dangerous part of the South Carolina lineup. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 hitters have been excellent in this game. Runner goes, and that's going to keep South Carolina out of the double play. Neff was moving on the pitch, and Marzilli finds a way to move that runner over. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues on Sunday and Monday night. First on Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern, Joey Votto leading the Reds into San Francisco. Then on Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, Derek Jeter continues his pursuit of 3,000 hits. The Yankees hosting the American League Central leading Indians. And you can see that game Sunday and Monday on ESPN. Both games also available on ESPN3.com as that's bunted foul by Wingo. Now, there are several guys in the majors right now that were part of super regional teams in this year's national tournament. Buster Posey comes to mind, former Florida State Seminole, but now, of course, out for the year with a serious ankle injury.
Yeah, very unfortunate situation, and obviously a lot have been talked about that, and maybe we'll get to that a little bit later, but I do have a little a take on it. I think Buster.
Well, why wait? Give it to us.
Well, you know, a lot of people are talking about, was it a dirty play? I think he did go after him a little, go either way, but it's part of the game. Buster just went down on both knees and really struggled to get that back knee back, and he's got it turned around.
Ahmed, nice backhand play, checks the runner and throws out Wingo for out number 2.
Good play by Ahmed there, and Wingo hitting another line drive to the backhand. But back to the Posey thing, was Posey sort of had his right foot out. You need to tuck that foot under if you're learning to block home plate. But the thing I don't get about it, Clay, is that you have all this backlash from it. And what about the guy that made the throw that hung him out to dry? How come his name's never mentioned?
That's a good point. Well, they're going to intentionally walk Christian Walker here. Walker driving in a run his last time up, his 59th run batted in. And they're going to bring Brady Thomas to outs.
A very interesting decision here to walk the right-hander. I know Walker is the best hitter, but you have a sinker ball pitcher who specializes in getting righties out. Going to walk and bring the left-hander up and Brady Thomas.
And what's Ray Tanner telling Thomas?
It's a good question. I think maybe he's saying you're going to get some sinkers and you're going to get maybe some soft stuff away. And don't try to do too much. Do what the rest of the guys have been doing. Seems like they've been hitting line drives through the middle and the other way. And a team that just grinds out at bats after at bats. Understand why Ray Tanner's had this program to 9 Sweet 16s, 9 Super Regionals in the last 12 years.
Well, South Carolina 5 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight, and Brady Thomas comes up. He's got an RBI single to his credit in this game. And he swings at the first pitch, sends it toward the gap, but coming over is Ferreter to make the catch. Good swing. South Carolina strands 2, but they lead at 5-1. Well, Connecticut down 4, but there is a lot of game left. We go to the top of the 7th. It's been a sports year at the University of Connecticut. Football going to a BCS bowl game, the Fiesta. Jordan Todman, the running back, had another good year. Jim Calhoun and the men's basketball team, of course, winning a 3rd national title. Gino Auriemma's women's basketball program went to a 12th Final Four. And Matt Barnes has been the anchor of the pitching staff that has gone to a super regional for the first time in program history.
Really phenomenal what the UConn program has done. I think it's more impressive that the baseball team is here just because, let's face it, you can't play in the snow and the rain in baseball.
Yeah.
And as much time as they lose, and being in Long Island, I got to train some kids, some high school kids, and to see them never see the field, never practice. Their practices are indoors because of the weather. Really phenomenal what Coach Jim Penders has done with this program. And if you look at all these kids, Nemeth is the all-time leader. Mazzilli's close to breaking his record. It seems like every kid on this team is part of a new record book and keep breaking everybody else's records. So
Connecticut, K-State, Florida State, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas A&M. Bowl game, men's, women's basketball tournament, and NCAA baseball tournament. Those are the only programs to do that this calendar year. Pretty impressive. UConn in some great company. And Jim Penders told us, he said the first time we put our spikes on this baseball season was the day before our first game. Before that, we were inside in tennis shoes, taking ground ball and BP inside.
yeah, it's really tough. It's hard to stretch out your arms too as well. You really see results. When you get on a baseball field, you can see more results than hitting in a batting cage. Very, very tough to gauge. And it's a rhythm thing too. Baseball is such a timing and rhythm sport. If you're not out there playing games, it's tough to do.
And Jim Penders talks regularly with Gino Auriemma and Jim Calhoun. Can't pick their brain enough. Boy, that was a tough hop for Peter Mooney. And gets into center field. Elliott is aboard.
The ball hit right on the button, hit the lip of the grass. If you see, Mooney sort of went down to dive for it, hit the lip of the grass and there and came up and sort of surprised him a little bit. As you see, sort of have the glove in front of your head. It ends up happening is you stick your glove up and it ends up blocking you. Sometimes when you're out in the outfield, you start running with your glove up, it ends up being in your face. But a tough hop there, and I think it'd be scored a base hit, no?
It is a base hit. It's the first hit since the third inning when Andrioli reached on a leadoff single. Big cut here for Mike Friel, as South Carolina has some activity out in the bullpen. Friel 0 for 1 in this game. John Taylor, a right-hander, starting to get loose. One's low for Roth, a ball and a strike.
Coach Tanner got such a great feel for the game. Already have somebody warmed up and ready to go. John Taylor, another guy, Submariner, Laredo, same thing. You heard me say Laredo a little bit earlier, coming from down under. Probably a guy you'll bring in to face a right-hander and try to get a double play ball.
This could be a double play ball. To Wingo, to Mooney, and Walker. 4-6-3 double play.
Great pitch by Michael Roth. And it just shows you don't have to throw 95 miles an hour to pitch in effectively. Fastball in there. Jams him a little bit. Ground ball to second base. Taylor made double play. And these two guys are really smooth in the middle of the diamond.
That's a second double play that Roth has shot tonight.
These guys are good. Got a little bit of style with them too. I like it.
And now Billy Ferreter, the number 9 hitter, whacks it foul. 1 strike. Roth now seeing Billy Ferreter for the 3rd time, the number 9 hitter. It's outside 1-1. He's got 88 pitches here tonight, and he has thrown 16 ground ball outs, 4 fly ball outs.
Great change up there. He sort of reminds me a little bit of a Jamie Moyer. Might even throw a little bit harder than Jamie, but one thing about Jamie, he threw 82 miles an hour, but he could get inside on you. It don't matter how hard you throw. You got to learn how to pitch inside.
Back up the middle, and a base hit for Ferreter. Second hit this inning for UConn. You know, I didn't realize it, but J.D. Rutledge, our crack statistician, just pointed it out and reminded me. Roth doesn't have a strikeout yet tonight. He has been dominant through large stretches of this game, but he's not overpowering anybody. He's just pitching.
That's what he does, and, you know, and that's why he wasn't a high draft pick. I've never understood that. A guy that has that kind of year in the SEC doesn't get drafted that high. It really blows my mind a little bit. If you can get outs, you can get outs. Bottom line.
Now Mazzilli fooled on that one for strike one. Roth has defeated 2 first-round picks already this year. Kentucky's Alex Meyer went down to Roth. So did Vanderbilt's Sonny Gray. And right now, Matt Barnes, first-round pick. UConn is in line for the loss, and Roth has shined here tonight.
It just shows you, like I said, you don't have to throw 95 miles an hour to pitch a good ball game. And Michael Roth is showing you right in front of your eyes how to pitch in and out, up and down, change speeds, add, subtract. And I can't remember really the last time he threw a breaking ball, mostly fastball change, Clay.
There is Barnes. Lasted 4 1/3 in this game. Look at the last 3+ starts for Michael Roth. No earned runs allowed. That run in the first inning was unearned for UConn. This one is lofted into right field, just out of the reach of Wingo. And UConn's got runners at the corners with 2 outs here in the 7th. 3rd hit this inning for the Huskies.
You talk about coaching about Wingo is one of the better defenders. It didn't even look like he had a shot at this ball, but gets a great read on it and almost runs it down just a couple inches short. And this is what UConn needs. The best hitter on deck, and George Springer. This is a huge at-bat for John Androli to try to get this game back, as now Barry's going to go talk to the mound, and it's going to be very interesting what Coach Tanner does here.
You see runners in scoring position. Connecticut has just the 1 hit. This is the first runner in scoring position for the Huskies since the 2nd inning, and trying to get something across here against Roth. Now a trip to the mound by Jerry Myers, the South Carolina pitching coach, the former head coach at Old Dominion. And talking with Ray Tanner before the game on the field about Jerry Myers, who he is very blessed to have on the staff. Ray said, you know, after I lose a coach, which he did, I always give right of first former coaches. And he went to Jerry Myers, who had a great head coaching job at Old Dominion. And Jerry said, yeah, I'll come back to South Carolina. And it's been a great relationship between Tanner and Myers, and he works brilliantly with the pitching staff. And he comes back to the mound, leaves Roth out there. Usually it's Tanner who makes the pitching changes anyway. We'll see how Roth responds now after the breather.
Yeah, I would think this might be his last hitter. If Androlio does get on in here, I would think they'll bring in the Submariner to face Springer in the on-deck circle. But if he gets through this inning and gets this guys out, I think he would go out there for the next inning.
Andrioli, 3 in this game. Roth at 95 pitches now. Trying to work out of a spot here in the 7th inning. This is high and outside, 2-0. And again, Springer's on deck.
Speaking on Coach Tanner, I mean, speaking to that guy for a half hour, I'd love to work for him. He's just got the energy that he has. It's just unbelievable.
Great personality. Loves to talk the game. 2 balls and no strikes. That's a breaking ball that backs into the zone, 2-1.
And there's that changeup again. That's his money pitch, his go-to pitch when he gets in trouble. 2-0 changeup.
Wingo's got to hurry. Got him. Roth through 7. Has allowed a run, but not earned. And the defense at key times has come up big for Michael Roth. 5-1 Carolina through 6.5. There's reason for the Gamecocks to feel cocky right now. They lead at 5-1. 7th inning stretch time here at Carolina Stadium. 8,242. It's a sellout. 9th sellout of the year. Adrian Morales taps it back to the mound. Thean throws him out. And last year, you know, put put this community into a tizzy with the College World Series title. I mean, this was already a great baseball state, a great baseball town, but last year put it over the top.
Yeah, and it seems like there's more people in 8200, standing room only here. And I got to say, I played in a lot of ballparks in my lifetime. This is probably nicer than 90% of the minor league ballparks that I played in. This is a phenomenal facility. The batting cage that they have down here for the South Carolina Gamecocks, it's probably one of the better batting cages I've ever seen, big league level anywhere. Just phenomenal accommodations here. Did a great job. The fans very energetic.
This is foul outside of the bag at third off the bat of Jake Williams as South Carolina hits here in the 7th inning. Ray Tanner, who was a head coach at North Carolina State before getting the job here at South Carolina some 15 years ago, deserves a lot of credit for getting this place built too. I mean, he had a lot of success before last year. I mean, they were runners up in 2002 at the College World Series, been to the NCAA tournament several times and made great runs. And when you have that kind of success, it's easy for people to get behind the program and get something like this built.
Yeah, winning helps.
No question.
I mean, that's just the bottom line, no? I mean, you win ball games, things come to you a lot easier. And the run that he's been on here, like we've said this is the third time, I'm going to repeat it again. 9 Sweet 16s, 9 Super Regionals in the last 12 years. A phenomenal feat.
Williams sends it foul again. 3-2. Williams in this game, a line out, a walk and a run scored and a strikeout.
You can understand why he's been so successful. Just when you talk to him, just the way he talks to you. He talks baseball. He bleeds it. I mean, he breathes it. I mean, you can any cliche you want to say, but he's also a salesman. That's part of the job a little bit. And he just the way he communicates with his players, it's almost like he's one of the guys. And I always thought a manager, as a player, a manager that you can respect, and that you don't want to be his best friend. He's still got to be somewhat of a father figure, but be able to communicate are the best managers.
3-2 to Williams. As his at-bat continues. Ray Tanner will admit, though, he hasn't always been the most players-type coach. I mean, he's adapted as his career has gone on. And the success, I don't think it's any coincidence, has come along with that change in attitude.
I think this team as well, especially with the adversity that they had. And Walker Williams there, the adversity they had with Jackie Bradley Jr. going down and a couple injuries. This team, when he talks about this team, the way they gelled together, I think he's most proud of this squad than he is of any other squad that he's coached. Obviously last year with the national championship, I mean, I'm sure he's very proud of that team, but just the way this team has handled themselves.
Williams aboard on a one-out walk. Second walk for Williams. And now Peter Mooney is up there. Dan Feehan is the pitcher now for UConn in relief of Matt Barnes. The starter lasted only 4 1/3. Feehan has done a pretty good job since coming on. Did a great job out of the pen in the regional in 3 2/3 innings over a pair of games. Didn't allow a run. As you see Mooney's night. But Elliot Glynn is warming up in the Connecticut bullpen. So Feehan may not get too much work here tonight. There's Glynn. He was also drafted in the late rounds this week.
Yeah, left-handed pitcher, was started a couple games this year as well, been more effective out of the bullpen. And Feehan's done so far a pretty good job. Stopped the bleeding there in the 5th inning. Struggling getting the lefties out. That single ball.
Sent foul by Mooney.
It's just the fundamentals that you watch. You sit and watch South Carolina. Mooney really trying to hit that hole, trying to do what he's supposed to do. There's a hole open there. There's a runner on first base. You really see him trying to hook that ball, take a couple shots. That's the way you play the game. And that seems like every one of these South Carolina guys has a idea coming up to the plate.
2-2, runner goes, And got it. Doug Elliott guns down Jake Williams trying to take the extra base, and there are 2 away.
Looked like a hit and run there, Clay, and Mooney sort of got tied up. The ball on the inner half. Looks like he might have rolled his ankle a little bit too, as he's sort of a little gingerly on his front ankle. A good throw by Elliott here, right on the money.
Doug Elliott. You talk to Jim Penders, he can't say enough about his senior catcher. I mean, what he's done at the plate, how he's handled catching every game this season for UConn. Makes another stop there on a pitch.
You see the jump right there. You see Jake Williams looking in, knowing he's probably dead to rights. I've been there before, Jake. When that hitter doesn't hit it, might as well just go back to the dugout.
Elliott out of Rocky Hill, Connecticut. And Feehan gets Mooney to go down swinging for out number 3. We have played 7. 5-1 Carolina. 5-1 South Carolina, game 1 of this Super Regional. We go to the 8th inning. Time now for our Home Depot Coaches Clinic. And Paul LaDuca caught a lot of games in his career. Take us through this.
We see a pop-up here, and Robert Beery, the one thing he does wrong here is he needs to turn a little bit more and face the stands. When the ball is hit up, it naturally comes back to the field a little bit. So what you want to do is get around the ball first. Got a little lucky that he didn't step on the bat there as well. But a good enough athlete. And what Ray Tanner says, our most versatile defender, still makes the catch. Would have made it a lot easier on himself. He would have turned over and faced us a little bit sooner.
Now Michael Roth comes out for the 8th inning. And he faces the number 3 hitter, the Big East Player of the Year, George Springer, to start the 8th. Springer in this game, 1 for 3, a single his first time up. And he scored UConn's only run. And sends this foul. Now, Roth had a visit to the mound from pitching coach Jerry Myers back in the 7th inning. UConn threatened, got a couple of guys on, but was able to get out of the jam. Now he's at 100 pitches. What do you expect here in the 8th?
Oh, I think he's going to be on a short leash, especially facing the middle of the lineup now, and see what happens. He's got double barrel in the bullpen, 2 guys warming up now. So I think Coach Tanner will let him go as far as he can go.
Bryson Taylor warming up now for South Carolina. Pitches high, 1-2. Tomorrow, South Carolina would likely start the freshman Forrest Kumas or the sophomore Colby Holmes. Not sure yet what the Gamecocks are going to do for sure, but either way, it's going to be a good situation for the Gamecocks if they win this one. They get Springer, and believe it or not, that's his first strikeout of the night.
Great job of pitching again by Michael Roth with a changeup down in the zone, burying it, getting George Springer to chase. And the command of his changeup and his fastball from like the 3rd inning on has been impeccable.
4 flyouts, 17 ground balls, and that K. As he misses down and outside to Nemeth. Nemeth had the RBI single in the 1st inning, but a couple of ground outs after that. John Taylor, the submariner, and Matt Price, the closer in that South Carolina pen. If Tanner would have his druthers, I would think he'd want Taylor for the rest of the 8th if he has to go to him, and then Price for the 9th, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Matt Price, dominant year, dominant closer. And Ray Tanner says his #1 recruit for next year.
Right. Yeah, Price, one of 5 finalists for the Stopper of the Year award. He was draft eligible this year as a sophomore because he was 21. Back-to-back strikeouts for Roth as Nemeth goes down for out number 2.
You know, Michael Roth did a great job in the previous 3 at-bats that he had off of Mike Nemeth were a lot of fastballs coming from the side there. And all those fastballs in set up that slider away and a nasty pitch there.
Just missed down. Fuller 0 for 2, a walk his last time up. We'll expect Fuller to be the first baseman next year after Nemeth moves on. Now that came back down, took Robert Berry a little bit by surprise, maybe took a strike away from his pitcher.
Yeah, I think it might have crossed Robert up there. It was probably a strike, but sometimes it will fool the umpire as well. The umpire's basing it on you. He's on your back and trying to read you, so when you sort of hesitate a little bit, makes him hesitate.
To right field in the corner, running over there is Williams, looking up, turns his body back to make the catch, and Roth through 8, outstanding. We'll see if he comes out for the 9th to finish this himself. 5-1 Carolina. South Carolina may be Omaha bound again. They may be 3 outs away from a Game 1 victory in the Super Regional. There is Michael Roth, and he has thrown a lot of ground balls, 17 ground ball outs.
And you wonder why their defense is so good. When you have a guy that throws strikes and works fast like Michael Roth, it's a infielder's dream. And a couple mistakes early, but just 17 ground balls, and there you see Roth did have the ice on. I thought maybe he would come out for the 9th, but I think maybe Coach Tanner's going to go with Matt Price.
Price is the closer, and it would appear that that's going to do it for Roth. 8 innings of wonderful work, and that's after getting behind right away in that first inning. Now, of course, there was an error. It was an unearned run, but it appeared that his back was against the wall right out of the gate, but wow, did he settle into a groove.
Yeah, I think the key was in the 2nd inning when Ferreter tried to bunt that run home. They got the out at home, and he just settled down, and that's what good pitchers do. Actually, great pitchers, and that's what he is.
Robert Berry fouls out to the second baseman, Mazzilli. 1 out here in the Carolina 8th. Now there's Elliot Glynn, the new pitcher for UConn. This is his 11th appearance.
Got a fastball in the low 80s. A little bit of deception. Also works in a slider and a cut fastball as well. Started some games, but coming out of the bullpen, got a little funk to him.
Swing and a miss here from Neff, the number 9 hitter for South Carolina. I'm sure that Ray Tanner in the back of his mind is thinking, boy, it'd be nice to scratch out an insurance run or 2. I mean, 4 runs is a big lead this year, as that one nearly hit Neff in the helmet.
Yeah, a little bit of chin music there, and yeah, there's never, you play as many games, you coach as many games as Coach Tanner has coached. As that ball whizzes by Neff's ear, there's never enough runs.
1 and 2. 4 runs in 2011 because of the scaled down bats. That's a little more comfortable than it used to be years ago. I mean, 7 didn't seem to be enough. Swing and a miss, got him. Out number 2 for Glynn. Now here's a look at the bracket on this side. Virginia 6-0 over Irvine earlier today. Cavaliers lead that series 1-0. Dallas Baptist and Cal, that's currently on ESPNU. A couple of Cinderella stories. There are no better stories in college baseball than those two. Texas A&M beat Florida State earlier today to take a 1-0 lead in that series. The winner of that Super Regional will play the winner of this Super in Omaha.
And what a great story for Dallas Baptist. Freddie Sanchez getting a little shout out, one of the notable players in the big leagues, the San Francisco Giants, great player. In a school that was NAIA, would you say 8 or 9 years ago, Clay?
2005, not even 6 years ago. They were NAIA. It's located in Dallas, in case you didn't know.
Just look at the enrollment. That's all you need to know.
It's a small school. But they're playing big. That's off the glove of Mazzilli into center field. And Evan Marzilli is safe at first base. That's going to be an infield hit for Marzilli.
That's the second ball we've seen hit the lip of the grass and take a big hop on Mazzilli there in second base, and sort of reached up and see the ball sort of takes a real high hop on him. Probably a play that he would probably tell you he should have made, but still a tough play.
You got Marzilli hitting it off the glove of Muzzilli.
Yeah, I know. Say that 10 times.
Yeah. And now Scott Wingo to hit. Pair of RBI singles in this game. Shows bunt here. Pitches down. 1 ball and no strikes to the number 2 hitter for South Carolina. Senior captain for the Gamecocks, drafted by the Dodgers earlier this week. Ray Tanner cannot speak highly enough of this guy in the 2-hole.
Yeah, Wingo playing a little possum. He squared the bunt every time up tonight.
Runner goes, tried to bunt that one. And didn't get it. Strike 1, but the runner over at second base was Marzilli with 2 outs.
Very interesting play there. Wondering if Wingo bunted through that on purpose. Obviously a tougher pitch to throw when a guy bunts and bunts through it. It's very tough for a catcher to get a hold of it. But there you see Coach Tanner pressing the issue, trying to get another run on the board.
6th stolen base for Marzilli. And there's strike 2, 1-2 to Wingo. South Carolina trying to become the first team to win back-to-back College World Series since Oregon State in 06 and 07. They got to get there first. So far, so good tonight. This one hit to left field. Playable for Ferreter, coming toward the line, and makes the catch. We go to the 9th. Last chance for UConn, down 4.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals is presented by the Capital One Venture Card, with double miles on every purchase every day.
Steve Bunin in studio with this Sports Center in game on ESPNU. Cal, an early 3-run lead on the Chad Bunting 3-run blast. Bears leading DBU in the top of the 3rd on ESPNU. 2 of the great storylines in the College World Series and the Super Regionals. One of those teams will be in Omaha. Vanderbilt will be there with another win over Oregon State. Jason Esposito, the Orioles' second-round pick in the
and LeBron and company keep this thing going, tie it up, and force a Game 7. Coverage begins Sunday at 7:30 on ABC. They're going to give an error on Morales, so that is the 3rd Carolina error in this game.
Michael Roth seems like the later he's gotten in the game, he's one of those type of pitchers like a Tom Glavine as well. The later they get, the more tired they get. Their changeup gets more effective, and his changeup is just disappearing right now. Got a good ground ball there, but an error by Morales. But maybe on a short leash here. Don't want to get UConn any kind of momentum.
We'll step off here as Doug Elliott is at the plate. Elliott has been aboard his last 2 times up. Walked back in the 4th and a single in the 7th. The 0-1 pitch just off the plate, 1-1. Roth has been inspired by this crowd of 8,200 plus. They have been behind him all night.
And those 8,200 plus were on their feet when he came out of the dugout. I think they had the 8,200 fooled as well, thinking he was coming out of the game.
2-1 now. Keep in mind last year, Michael Roth in his first career start in Omaha against Clemson, an in-state rival.
Clemson, yeah.
Complete game victory. It seems like the bigger the game, the better Michael Roth is. He's behind in the count here to Elliott, 3-1.
That's all you need to know about a guy's makeup. And take the ball when his first start of his career at South Carolina in the College World Series, beats Clemson and throws 9 innings, then comes back and throws 5 strong innings in his second start in the College World Series last year, and just carried that momentum to this year.
3-2. To right field. Williams is there. Out number 1. There are so many fans here. They're looking for places to stand. These guys found a pretty good spot.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Oh, now I see where they're at. Standing room only.
Looking over the Palmettos beyond the right field wall. A visit to the mound by Jerry Myers again, the pitching coach. There's been no indication that he is going to make a change as of yet. They are going to go to the bullpen. And John Taylor, the submariner, comes in with 1 out in the 9th, and we have to listen to this crowd. They are going to give Michael Roth one heck of an ovation. Welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. 5-1 South Carolina with 1 out here in the Connecticut 9th. And it's an easy call. Michael Roth, our Capital One player of the game.
And what's the common denominator here, Clay? Everything on the inner half, getting ground balls, just shows you don't need to throw 96 miles an hour to pitch effectively inside. Michael Roth down in the zone, got better as the game went on, changing arm angles, changing speeds. Dominant performance for a guy that doesn't throw that hard. Just shows you what you can do when you know how to pitch.
The 2 strikeouts he got came in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
I mean, he hadn't struck anybody out up to that point, just throwing ground ball outs.
I think a lot of young kids don't realize that you don't need to strike out 15 guys. Perfect example. He dominated UConn through 6 innings and didn't even strike out a batter.
Right. So Michael Roth in line for his 13th win. The bullpen is on now, and Jonathan Taylor. Taylor has been a bullpen workhorse for Ray Tanner. He has been called out of the pen 44 times now. That's a program record. 37, the previous high, was coincidentally set by Michael Roth last year. Taylor's been the guy usually first out of the pen this season. Now Tim Martin, excuse me, is the pinch hitter for UConn.
Yeah, and Coach Tanner opting, especially with the left-hander up, not holding the runner at first base to close up that hole a little bit. Martin, left-handed pinch hitter off the bench with a little pop.
2 balls and no strikes as you see Walker playing well behind the bag at first. Ahmed, a comfortable lead away from the bag. It is a funky delivery from John Taylor. As you see the numbers on Tim Martin, he has been primarily a designated hitter this season for UConn. Used as a pinch hitter here in the 9th. Runner goes, swung on, knocked down by Wingo. He's got 1 play to first, and they get Martin. Out number 2, and now the Huskies down to their last out.
Great play by Wingo, and it just matter-of-factly, he sort of just got up, threw it over there, said, no problem. Look at him just dive to his left, get up, throw. Don't worry about it, I got this. And sort of turned around. I love the confidence. These 2 guys up the middle are phenomenal.
Billy Ferreter hits. Strike 1. This could do it. Wingo. Ball game. Michael Roth with a beautiful start. Taylor mops it up here in the ninth. And South Carolina takes game one of this Super Regional 5-1.
Yeah, just grinded out. Matt Barnes, the starter for UConn, big of the year. And the South Carolina Gamecocks, the second and third time around the order, just too much to handle. And Michael Roth, what more can you say about him? Another great performance. Now, somewhere around 30 scoreless innings.
Yeah, he's been dynamite in the postseason. Well, Virginia, winners earlier today. So was Texas A&M. You can add South Carolina on that list of winners on this side of the bracket. Dallas Baptist and California currently playing. We're going to get you out to that one real soon here. Very impressive start for Michael Roth. South Carolina now in the driver's seat in the Super Regional. Ray Tanner has to be proud of the guys. 5-1 the final over UConn. More baseball coming up. Oregon State and Vanderbilt. We'll be back tomorrow for Game 2 from Columbia at 7 on ESPNU. For Paul LaDuca and our entire baseball crew, I'm Clay Matvick saying goodbye from Carolina Stadium. And now we go back to the studio.
Thank you, guys. So South Carolina, the defending champs, one win from getting back to Omaha. Andrew Susac and Oregon State, one loss from being eliminated. Vanderbilt, one win from moving on to the 2011 College World Series. We are less than 11 minutes from first pitch here on the ESPN family of networks. Steve Bunin and our college baseball analyst Will Kimmey. So you saw UConn and you see South Carolina and you see the Gamecocks rolling.
Yeah, I think tonight we talked about the pitching matchup, and tonight was the difference between pro baseball and college baseball. Pro is about the potential down the line. College is about what's right now. Matt Barnes, first-round pick, gets knocked around on the mound for UConn. Michael Roth, 31st round pick, only giving up about 1 run a game all year. That's what he gives up here. Gamecocks win. Michael Roth is doing it now, not in the future.
South Carolina trying to become the first team in quite some time to get back to Omaha after winning it all the previous season. What a day we've had in college baseball. How about Mississippi State facing elimination? You said probably this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, mismatch of the 8 super regional matchups, and the Gators jump out on top early. 2-zip. Josh Adams with the home run, and then it's freshman time. Karsten Whitson, you like him?
Yeah, he was a first-round pick out of high school last year, and it's that 90-mile-an-hour fastball up to 94, big slider.
Then he gets some defensive help in the bottom of the 5th. Preston Tucker was robbed on basically the same play in the regionals, Florida against Miami. Now he makes the running catch. And Whitson again getting out of trouble, but then gives up a single.
Yeah, Whitson hadn't gotten through the 6th inning all season, and again, he can't get out of it here.
Went 6 1/3. Tommy Toledo, great name, comes in. Her first batter he faces, Brent Brownlee, ties this game at 2. Mississippi State not going down without a fight. Top 8, Tyler Thompson. C.T. Bradford.
He's so fast and plays the shallow center field. It bit him twice that inning. Early on a double and then there on that triple.
Bottom of the 9th, down to your last at-bat, Mississippi State. But holy Nick Vickerson. He said the coach admitted, I was going to have him bunt. At the last second, I decided let him swing away. It's a walk-off 2-run blast that keeps the Bulldogs' season alive. They'll play a decisive Game 3 tomorrow, 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific on ESPN. And the 2 seed is now 9 innings from being eliminated.
Yeah, think about Caleb Reed, the closer. John Cohen went to him in the 4th inning of this game. He rode him all the way. That was the key move in the game.
So the Gators go down. How about Florida State? The Seminoles have been to the College World Series 20 times, have never won it. No team has been so close and never come up with the title, taking on Texas A&M. And boy, the Bats were out in this one on ESPNU.
That is a big league home run for Jace Boyd there. Just launches that thing. The Seminoles with 57 homers all season.
2 runners in scoring position a little bit later in the game. And it's delivery time. Both are going to score, and all of a sudden the Aggies have the lead. Not only that, they extend it to 6-2. We go bottom 9, 2 out. There's the final out. The 5th seed in this tournament is now 9 innings from elimination, with Game 2 tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on ESPN2. The top seed is Virginia. That guy right there was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Some said it was a reach, but Seattle took Danny Holtzman at number 2 overall. Get some help from Jared King defensively.
Yeah, this is Virginia. They can pitch and they can play defense. Look at this, getting the runner at home. Just Keith Lerman with a great throw down there. But you know what? Irvine, also a pretty solid defensive club.
The old Anteaters.
Zot. Brian Hernandez in there, gets the runner at home. And again, Mike Gillespie coaches him up just like Brian O'Connor does. And this was a great baseball game.
Great defense again on display in the top of the third. 2 on, Brian Hernandez, 4-6. Nice sidestep, good throw, 4-6-3. UVA out of another jam. Holton showing that sort of veteran prowess. That's why a lot of big league scouts think he could be one of the quicker guys to jump up, if not the top ceiling guy in the draft. Matt Summers facing John Hicks. Infield single. Finally, we got a run in this game. 1-0 UVA. Now Holton with the stick.
Yeah, he was drafted second because he can pitch, but the guy can hit a little bit. Batting over 300, doing a nice job out of the DH slot this year for Virginia.
Helps himself to Zip Cavaliers after a rain delay. We go bottom 6. King at bat, and that is King at dawn.
Yeah, Jared King just loses this one. Not a lot of home runs in Davenport Park. It's a big yard. He hit that ball big far.
6-0 UVA, the top seed in this tournament, advancing in game 1. How about Cal? Dallas Baptist. 2 great stories. Cal nearly lost its baseball program this season. Donors stepped up, and how about stepping up with a 3-run home run early? Mr. Bunting, not the first Bunting we've heard of.
Yeah, Chad Bunting doing it here. Ben Bunting doing well in Chapel Hill.
It is still raining in Chapel Hill. If you were watching this game earlier on ESPN and wondering what happened, they were in the top of the 9th, 2 out. Stanford was down 6-1 in the 8th, came up with 4 runs to get close. They'll get their chance to bat in the bottom of the 9th, but they first got to take that tarp off the field. So far, it is still raining. If and when they begin play, we'll let you know where you can see that game, whether it's ESPN3.com or ESPN, ESPN2, or ESPNU. As for us, we're coming up with Vanderbilt, Oregon State, Cal, Dallas Baptist, ASU, Texas. It's all going on. College baseball.